Hey everybody, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 263. I'm your host, Rico, here with my co-host,
Dane Cody.
Dane Cody, and I get together once a week, talk about video games, TV, movies, and or whatever the hell we like. Welcome everybody to episode 263. If you have never been here before, we usually start the show off with our BS section, which we are knee-deep in. Get into some quick housekeeping before we get started proper. Break it down into what you've been playing. Basically, the games Dane and I have been playing over the last week since we last talked. This week, I can finally talk about Ghost of Tsushima. Also known as Samurai's Creed. And then we get into some news and stuff, public service announcements, and free for all. Dane.
One of us. What?
How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm freaking hot. It's
Yeah?
like really hot here, and
It's toasty.
yeah, and like I'm hoping that like normally the afternoon wind sort of picks up a little more, and it's not windy enough here.
I'm in
So
the basement, so it's cool. Upstairs in my house is like an oven, though. It's always cool down here.
yeah, you'd think this close to the ocean that we'd like, we normally do. We normally get that like kind of ocean breeze in the afternoon, but man, right now, woo,
We
it's
speaking of hot, the last couple weekends, I think I've mentioned it before that my heat pump died,
yeah.
and then I had to replace it. So me and my brother, who is now in the HVAC industry, installed a new heat pump.
Oh, nice.
So he was like doing all the refrigeration lines and pressure testing and all that fun stuff.
Sweet.
I did
So now
the
you're
I did the
kind
like
of
this.
nice.
It's not. We got to power up this weekend.
Oh,
We
okay. So
just
you're
finished.
not nice and cool yet.
No, almost. But like we finished the ducting because the unit was a different size than the original one. So we had
Oh,
to
okay.
modify the ducting, like the return air and so forth. He had
Right.
to do all the piping for like the refrigerant lines,
Yeah.
and that's like welding, and now it's like
Oh,
pressure.
yeah.
Right now it's pressure tested. This is like totally going off the rails. Don't worry, people. We're gonna get the video games. But it's like they fill the lines with nitrogen
Yep.
he flushed the lines to clean them originally when we cut out the old equipment
Yep.
because the refrigerant from our old machine was burnt because the compressor died.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And our other unit was like 10 years old. It was a piece of shit to begin with. And then we just he got a steal on a new unit, like new air handler and new heat pump. So we just went all
Nice.
brand new
Sweet.
for less than what it would cost me to get like just a compressor replaced or
Oh,
repaired.
nice.
So yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's like literally, I think this stuff fell off the back of a truck, but hey, it's all good. I wasn't really looking towards paying $10,000 for a new heat pump AC system, so I'm pretty
No,
stoked.
it's a little pricey.
But of course, we're doing a lot of the work. I had to carry this stuff down, install it in the basement, take it outside. I almost kill myself carrying the heat pump.
Awesome.
I really effed up my shoulder because it's super heavy. So for a couple days, like it just finally stopped hurting, and I think we moved it on Saturday. And what are we, Wednesday now?
Yeah.
But anyway, he did all this stuff, fills it up with nitrogen after they clean it out to get all the moisture out, and also it's
Right.
like the system's pressurized, so to make sure there's
Yep.
no leaks. It's really cool. Anyway, it's pretty exciting. It looks really good. It's all in. We just basically need to wire in the thermostat and power it up.
Oh, okay.
Now it's got like a fancy touchscreen thermostat and all that crap.
Ooh.
It's not like it's
Tie into your like home automation nonsense bullshit stuff.
no, well, it is and it isn't. It's not like Nest or like Ecobee or anything. It's like that brands of equipment
Oh,
unit.
okay.
It's like more expensive. It's like twice as expensive, which I'm not too thrilled
Yeah.
about. But
That doesn't surprise me at all.
my bro's coworker, who's like the smart guy, he's like, yeah, you get that thermostat because it's designed for that equipment. You get all the features. Because something
Right.
he was telling me, like the Nests and the Ecobees are cool, but they don't necessarily support all like the communication tech in your like heat pump and like furnace like equipment and like the multiple stages and stuff. They kind of almost just automate on and off and give you
Right.
internet access with like fancy screens and stuff.
Yep.
But like they're not fully featured. They're like they look cool and all, but he's like you lose out on some functionality and actually some efficiency.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I mean that makes sense because like with a full feature, you can know like which rooms to put more air into, like you know what I mean? Like it can be
it's
way
more about the
smarter.
multi-stage and variable stuff
Right.
that
Versus like just like it's
on.
on, it's
Yeah, I think
off,
the
it's
Nest.
on, it's off.
I think the Nest
Like
and the Ecobee.
following those people down the fucking road, right? The people that just like they're on the gas,
Yeah,
they're off the gas, they're on the brake,
don't
they're on the gas. Oh, it drives me
and
bonkers when
don't
I'm
tell my wife.
following those people.
I think the Nest might have killed our last heat pump.
Oh,
I
no nest
don't.
for you.
I don't think that's the case. We've had lots of problems with that thing before it actually died. But
Right.
there's some chatter on the internet. People were saying, "Oh, they can kill it when it like what happens is it like turns the unit on and off very quickly, and then the
Oh, I see.
compressor. What happens is the compressor goes in reverse, and it damages the compressor because of
I can
the
see that.
pressure change and the quick on and off, which
Yep.
like the thermostats designed for the equipment won't allow that to happen.
Right. So it
Anyway,
creates a negative pressure, which yeah, I can see that.
exactamundo.
Yep.
I don't think that happened because we already had issues before that. Also, I'd run the Nest for like 2 years with no problems. So my brother was
Could have
saying
just
the
did it.
the old unit we had was like a literal piece of junk. It was like he said most people got 5 years out of it. It's like one of the worst like rated units on the internet. Like it's just people like hate it. Like it's super known for. It was just like a bad batch.
Right.
So, which is frustrating because it wasn't necessarily cheap, but I will have AC again
Oh, that's the key,
by
man.
next week.
That's
I should have
key.
AC again because it is so fucking hot. My poor dog is
I'm
just
very
like,
jealous.
my poor dog's
I
like,
mean, of course, right around the time that you're gonna get it turned on and stuff, it'll be cooling off again. It'll be raining or
it'll
something.
be winter.
No, we got
No,
another couple weeks, I think, of some nice
I
weather.
think we have a couple months of good weather.
Yeah,
That being
which
said,
like not being able to like, kind of like leave the house is kind of shitty for somebody like me. So I don't know. I
yeah,
may I may have to buy an AC unit or
you
so,
guys
like
don't
even a
have one?
portable one this year. No, because like I've said before on the show, like when we first moved in here, we got these great big windows that we would just open, and the afternoon breeze comes
But
in,
there's
and it's
just no
great.
breeze now.
Well, the biggest issue now is we have two fucking psycho cats
Oh,
that
that's
would
right.
jump out the four-story window. So
That's what
so
you
we can only
said.
open our windows like this much, so that like 4 inches or whatever, so that they don't fucking dive out chasing a bird that flies by.
I
And because there's no screens or anything, right? Because we're so high up, we like almost never get any like bugs because we're so high up in the air. So it's never really an issue for that. So we don't really need screens. But when it comes to the animals diving out the window, that's a whole different problem.
Yeah, you
So
don't really need your cats jumping off. What is it? 3 stories? 4 stories?
four.
Yeah,
So
that's
so yeah.
that
So
might wait.
now
That might cost
you
them a
know
life or two.
yeah, exactly, or all of them at once. Um. So yeah. So I mean, we love them, but it makes our house very hot. That's all. So like I can actually open the window now that I'm in here locked in without
Nice.
the fluffers in here. So
The trials and tribulations of no air conditioning.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Also, the other issues is like I don't know where the fuck we'd put it when we weren't using it. Like because like let's be honest, like we'd use it for what, like maybe a month out of the
two
year in the
months.
summer, and then what? Now I got to store it somewhere. Like I don't have any room in my storage downstairs. I don't want to just like leave an AC unit hanging around.
Put
Like
it in the trunk of your car.
yeah, just drive around with it.
Under the bed.
Sufficient.
Leave it at your
There's no
friends.
room under the bed. Trust
Leave,
me, my wife has got that shit Tetrised in there with her stuff.
leave it at your friend's house.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Vert will let me stick it in his garage. Hey, buddy, can I put this in your garage?
They'd probably end up using it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
So
shall we get into some housekeeping, Dane?
yeah,
Besides
what do you got?
besides literal house maintenance, some
Yeah.
housekeeping. Join the Discord server, Geekoholics.com/Discord. You know the deal. That's our hangout chat spot. That's where we party up. It's where we make fun of me, It's where we share news, where we share deals. It's where we share, our innermost desires of ridiculous toys we want to buy. Yada yada.
Yep.
Do it. Join it. Geekoholics.com/Discord. The best part is listening to the best podcast you've never heard of or never been published anywhere. It's a secret podcast that's on our Discord live every other day. So
it's pretty cool.
There's
I've
that too.
On it a few times.
There's that too. You could listen to the best podcast that you've never heard. That's one of the benefits of joining the Discord server.
There's also free games. If you're into PC games, you're like, hey, I like free games. There's a big old list.
It's on the welcome. It's pinned on the welcome channel. Either I haven't looked or nobody's like asked for games there. People don't like free games. I already said everyone who listened, if you already took a free game, look down the list, pick another one because I want to get rid of that crap.
Do you know how many other games I could probably add to that list right now because of like my Humble bundles?
Dude, I haven't. I don't think I've redeemed a Humble game in like a year. So I have like every month for like the last year, at least.
And you're on the classic one, like I am. I'm assuming. So you get 10 every month for the same price that like everybody gets 8 or whatever, right? So yeah,
it's redonk. That being said,
like Hitman 2 sitting there. I got some sweet games.
Yes,
just sitting there, we're gonna have to just do some giveaways pretty soon.
Yeah, man, if I wasn't so goddamn lazy, that might happen. Also, if you didn't know, we are a podcast first and foremost, but we do stream once a week, Wednesday nights, usually around 8 p.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/Geekoholics. So if you want to catch us live, jerk around
whoa
in the chat,
please do not. I mean, technically you do whatever you want to do when you're in the chat, but maybe don't let us know about it. All right,
please do not jerk off in the chat.
We do not want to get banned, okay? Jeez.
On the chat, not in the chat. Oh god. Not better.
You're
not
blushing,
better.
Rick. Do you have something you need to talk to us about? Or
the camera can only see so low or so high.
That's for the best. That's for the best.
I always check to make sure that those lights are off. So
okay.
Oh god, where were we? Oh yeah, twitch.tv/Geekoholics every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, if you want to catch it live. And of course, you might find this on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, you just got the rundown. You can also find us weekly live on Twitch or subscribe to us on podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. Geekoholics.com has all the subscription links, super easy, right on the front page. If you can't remember anything, just go Geekoholics.com. It's all there. Easy peasy. YouTube, Twitch, yada yada. Dane,
yo,
shall we get into some what you've been playing?
What have you been? I mean, I know what you've been playing.
Everybody knows what I've been playing for like a couple weeks now.
You were like, "Oh, it's so cool! Look what I'm playing." I had I played so much of it that I finished it, and here's my cool review now.
I don't know if it was a cool review, but it was a review.
Wow. I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Ghost of Tsushima. # provided by PlayStation. I was given this review copy from Sony a few weeks ago. I have beaten the game.
Time to actually play it.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't even have to play it as harshly as I did with The Last of Us, even though it's a bigger game because I had more time. I wasn't like panicking, and I managed to finish it in right in the nick of time on the last day before embargo was up because I actually had the day off on Monday. So I
son of a bitch.
Yeah, I put a few hours into it. Samurai's Creed. I have a review on YouTube. It was late. I was tired. It came out all right. I wish I was a little more energetic, but hey, the content is all that matters. Next time I do a video, I'm going to get a teleprompter and I'm going to type it all out. I had it all on paper and it was really hard to read. Like my print, I have doctor like printing. It's terrible. But my review is pretty big. Anyway, gist of it is Samurai's Creed. It's an Assassin's Creed game in Japan. It's I don't know. I think it might be a little bit better than Assassin's Creed game. Not necessarily the most recent one, but it's a damn freaking good game. Like I gave it a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. I liked the characters. I liked the story. I liked the world. I liked the combat. There wasn't much.
And it's fucking
Oh
pretty.
yeah, it's
Oh,
gorgeous.
it's so
It's
pretty.
a little distracting, like the character models compared to Last of Us 2, because like I said with what is it? Last of Us 2 in my review. No, I don't think I said it in my review. Naughty Dog, I think, like made a deal with the devil, like
Okay.
to be able to pull such amazing detailed characters out of the PlayStation 4. Like I don't know what they did,
Yeah. You're
but
also
like
talking about like scope of game versus
that's
like, you know what I
true.
mean?
The open world
Like
definitely
you,
makes stuff drop
yeah.
down in quality. Like yes,
Well,
that's
yeah, like well you have to like when you know when you're doing a smaller game, you can increase quality on some of
per
the
model,
assets.
right?
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Right. Whereas like when you have a huge open world game, you got to show those mountains over yonder, you got to show the grass, you got to show the trees, you got to, you know, you've got to render everything as
Yeah.
far as the eye can see essentially, and it definitely limits kind of what you can do, right?
So in cutscenes and stuff, they look fantastic. When it goes
Right.
in engine and it's back to open world, there's definitely a drop in the character model detail, but still
Sure.
looks really freaking good. It's a beautiful game. Like it's picturesque. It feels like art come to life. It's so gorgeous. I took so many screenshots. Like I don't know if you saw that. Like just that one picture I took, like that I used on our tweet with him holding the
Hmm.
sword. Like that's in
Right.
game. Like that is such an
Yeah.
awesome. I took that shot and I'm like, oh, I forgot I took that. I'm like, that turned out freaking awesome.
It's like I haven't played it yet, obviously, but like every time I watch a video or I see something about it or I look at these crazy screenshots that people are doing from photo mode and shit, and I'm just like I'm always just blown away. Like it's right up my alley. It looks incredibly like beautiful and cool, and who doesn't want to be essentially like, you know, the lead in their own samurai movie? Like that sounds
Yeah.
fucking rad.
So,
Um,
um, Ghost is from Sucker Punch.
yep.
They've done the infamous games. The last time they did a game was what, 7 years ago?
Wait, was
Second
the
Son.
last game they did Last Light for
I think it
Second
was,
Son?
yeah, I think it was Second Son. Unless they did
Have they
some like,
seriously just been working on this the entire
unless they
time?
did a collection or something in between, I don't think they've done anything else. Um,
Man,
um,
hold on.
Chat says they did the submarine game, but that was like an indie game for like GameStop or something. But yeah, anyway, Jin Sakai from the Sakai clan. Basically, it's this big, you know, epic
Wow.
story about his like quest to reunite everyone, build up his allies, take back his homeland from the Mongol invaders. You
Right.
know, you make new allies, you go free farmlands and forts. It's kind of got like that Far Cry kind of liberate places, and then people move back in. You talk to people in towns and hear rumors about side quests. There's mythic quests for like new legendary combat arts and armor sets. There's the main story, obviously, which you can just. I don't know how long this game is if you plugged straight through on like the main storyline, but there is so
Okay.
much shit to do, like collectibles stuff on the like. I beat the game, but
Right.
I don't even have half the collectibles. I don't think I've even covered half the map. So
I mean, yeah, that was depending on how you look at it. That was either one of the like the boons or like a lot of critics were saying, you know, like some people you could view it depending on how you feel about that kind of stuff. You could either view it as like this is great or this is not awesome. And it seems like people are really like judging by early reviews. It seems like people are really kind of falling on either side of that coin. You know what I mean?
well,
Like,
that's the thing. If you could get so distracted with side quests that you might end up, you know, getting feeling like things are a little monotonous, which
right.
is like with any open world game, right? Like you
Of
ignore the
course.
main
Yeah,
storyline and you just do the same outpost, you know, missions
totally.
over and over, or the other like activities you can do, and then it's like, oh, this is the only thing it has to offer. And I was like, oh yeah, there's the main storyline, and then there's like some new activities and stuff that's doled out from doing the main storyline. You
Right.
know, because like at some point I thought like I had learned everything, and then it's like, oh, do a couple story missions. Oh, now I've got new techniques, new stuff
Right.
that I could have had the whole time, but I really wasted a lot of time just doing side stuff.
I really learned my lesson in the hell was that game on Switch? It was like the last great Star Fox game that wasn't a Star Fox game. I
Oh, god damn it. The one with the toys.
I played a ton of that.
What the hell is that
Didn't do
called?
the main story quest. Flew all over the place. Strangely enough, it's an Ubisoft game.
What is it called? It's the one with the stupid
Hold
Star
on.
Fox thing. I'm
I
having a
know.
super brain fart right now. Like, what is that game?
So am I. Oh fuck.
Someone
Damn
in
it.
chat.
Yeah.
Starlight? No.
It's Starfield. No, not Starfield. It's Star something.
Star.
Fuck it. Here we go. We're going to Wikipedia. Where are we here? Oh, jeez. How is this so hard to find? Where's the stupid games? Oh,
Starlink.
Starlink. Thank you. Yes. So Starlink.
Wait.
I got super sidetracked at the beginning.
The Tharlink. I like the Tharlink from the chat.
Nah.
That was a trying to beat us typing it in fast typo.
So I played, like, when I first played that, like, there's like you open up the first like couple worlds or whatever, and I mean I wasted hours on like the first couple worlds trying to do everything before I moved on. And I was like, man, like there was some stuff that like I don't even know that I was supposed to be doing, but I somehow managed to do. And then later on, I go to another place, like after I do the story mission, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, here's this thing that makes all that shit that you just wasted way too much time doing, and you can just do it now, because like it was supposed to be part of the story that you would go and like do a couple of these worlds before trying to finish everything. Like they intended for you to maybe go back.
Yeah,
later,
they
right?
intended you to do some hopping to move the story along, teach you
But
all
then
the
hop
mechanics.
back and be all over the place.
But you're like,
And
no,
me,
I'm
of
going to do
course,
everything on this one planet that I could possibly do.
before I move on. Anyways, so after that, I've stopped doing that a lot in open world games because of that. So yeah,
Yeah,
so I definitely get that.
I recommend if you play this game, you do that too. Do like a
Yeah.
main story mission, do a couple side missions, maybe the ones or activities, maybe the ones that boost your health or your resolve.
Sure. Right.
So basically, in Ghosts, besides the explorations, it's a third-person combat game. You've got different stances, different weapons, mainly close quarters combat. There is like stealth. There is ranged. Like if you want to pick guys off with your bow, there's two types of bows.
Nice.
There's like a half bow and like a long bow. You've got kunai that you can throw, the little freaking ninja blades or samurai blades or whatever.
Yep.
And basically, depending on how you want to play, you can just play. You're forced to do stealth in some missions, but you can do just in most instances when you're not forced to do stealth, you can just straight up call out enemies. Like the big mechanic of Ghosts is that stand up mechanic, where Jin will walk up if you see enemies, or if you go into a fort and they haven't discovered you yet, then you can hit up on the D-pad and it starts the standoff kind of mode. And
so you're essentially like challenging them.
yeah, he's like literally he's like challenge me, and like he literally calls him out like let's go,
Right. Okay.
let's throw down. And basically it goes into, it's kind of like a mini game where you hold your attack button and basically you have to let go of it when the enemy is about to hit you. So it's like it's like the opposite of parrying. You're attacking right at the last second.
Sure.
So at first you can only do it once, and then you can level it up through the skill tree up to I think up to 3 times, and then you can actually get gear that I think you can level it up to like 5 or 6 times.
Oh.
So what happens is when you first do it, it's an insta kill on one enemy. It's like, yay, that guy's dead.
Right.
I just slimmed the group a little bit because usually it's usually always like a 3 or a 4 on 1. You know?
Okay.
And it makes things a little easier when you cut down the opposition.
Heck yeah.
with a one-hit kill, as opposed to having to break their defenses or stunning them,
Right.
and fighting them. Because depending on who you fight, different stances are more effective, right? So it's like a
Yep.
rock paper scissors to the enemy you're fighting. But
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
they can also counter you. They can block. There's breaking there, blocking, which stuns them, opens them up for attacks. There's special moves you can do, which take resolve, which is like your little meter, which is also balanced between healing you as well, because you can use that to heal yourself as well.
Okay.
You build up your resolve from killing enemies, from parrying attacks.
So it's a little bit like Spider-Man actually,
Yeah,
where
I
you use
guess.
like you're building up that meter and then you use that meter to do
Yeah,
like
to
big
do.
moves as
Yeah,
well as heal yourself
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff, right?
exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. Very similar.
All right.
So when you do a stand up, one guy at first. Okay, you kill him, then you fight the other guys. But
Sure.
when you upgrade it, what happens is after the first guy gets killed, more guys will rush in depending on how upgraded that skill is, and then you
Sure.
can essentially one hit kill them as well. So it's
Oh
the same
shit.
thing when
Sweet.
they run in to attack you. You got to hit them last second, and then you
Right.
get an insta kill. If you fuck it up, you literally have a sliver of life, and if they hit you again, you're done.
Okay.
So
So
you
there's
know,
definitely a risk reward.
oh, there's
there.
absolutely a risk reward.
Okay.
But when you pull it off and you kill a whole squad of guys through a straight up standoff,
You feel like a total
it's
badass.
pretty badass, because Jin will be like, whip the blood off his thing, and then
Yeah.
he'll like do that ninja, put the sword back in, or the samurai put the sword back
Nice.
in the sheath super slow, and it's
Right.
pretty effing badass. Like,
That's
it
cool.
feels
That's cool.
awesome. But even if you fub it and you fight enemies, it's still so cool, because you can mix in like the quick attacks, the heavy attacks. You mix in, throw some blades to stun some guys because it'll stun them, or you can throw a
Right.
smoke bomb, or you can do like a grenade. They had like a sticky bomb, like, because you end
Okay.
up Jin ends up like stealing techniques and stuff from the Mongols. So
Sure.
like, spoiler alert. This is in the reveal. So if you've seen the reveal, you already know this. It's not really a spoiler. Unless you're super crazy sensitive of like seeing anything about a game, you might consider this a spoiler. Jin's fighting the whole samurai honor code thing versus his dirty enemies who like are dirty fighters and will pull anything out to win. And
Right.
it's kind of like if you
That whole
can't,
honor, right?
yeah, it's kind of like, well, he lowers himself to their level and does some stuff that is frowned upon within samurai code, right? Like, samurais don't assassinate people. That's the
No.
whole standoff mechanic. You always fight your enemy head on.
Right.
You look
Head
your
on.
enemy in the eye when you kill him, right? Like, that's a big
Yeah.
samurai thing. So a big part of the story is this inner like conflict he's got going on with the way he was raised, the new world, the old world, samurai code, just doing whatever it takes to free his island, from the invaders. And
Right.
I think it's a really cool story. That it is a neat story, and it definitely has some, repercussions. But yeah, I really like the combat. The combat's great. And like I said, after every combat, it's kind of like, in Batman. It's not so simple, I find, as Batman. I feel like there's more depth to it than a Batman.
Sure.
But it doesn't matter how you decimate your foes, it always feels badass after. And then after the dirt settled, and always the awesome like bloods flinging off the sword, or the wiping it on
Yeah.
his arm and then putting it
Right.
back kind of stuff.
Sure.
It's like you'll have enemies that are like on the ground crawling like, and it's like you can give them what does it say? Is it mercy or end their suffering? And then he's
Right.
just like, whoosh, and he just like literally just stabs them in the back while they're crawling. Just
okay.
finishes them off. It's so cool. It's like, I don't know. I love it. I love it so much. The combat's great. The world's great. The music's great. Like, it's an awesome game. It's a pretty wicked first outing for an IP. And,
Right.
it cribs a lot of stuff from like Far Cry, from Assassin's Creed. Like, it's just pulling all like, it's like if they started off with Assassin's Creed 2 with a samurai game.
Right. Okay.
It's not so bare
Yeah,
bone. With Assassin's Creed 1, we all saw the promise and hey, this is pretty good, but it's a little too repetitive. It's a little too barren.
Yeah,
It,
you
it
play like about 10 hours of the first one and you're like, okay, I've seen the game. But then the
yeah,
second one they like fill it out and
yeah.
you realize like it felt like, okay, this is what they meant to
And
make.
this almost feels like they've got that experience and lessons from seeing other games with
Right.
content, with size, with polish, with
Sure.
everything. And it's like, yeah, this is a pretty awesome game.
Well, I mean
Like
those Infamous games, like they're
the
huge
Infamous
open
games
worlds,
are,
right?
yeah,
Like,
the Infamous games are great. You can
you know.
definitely feel some Infamous in this game with
Right.
when you're traversing running across logs or rooftops or like wires,
I
because there's like there's a whole climbing, like
excellent.
attacking from
Good.
above and being a
Right.
badass on the rooftops and
So
shit.
it's
Like
got a
you're,
little bit of Tenchu sprinkled in
oh
there.
yeah,
Oh
yeah, it's
yeah.
definitely got some of that in there.
Okay.
It's
So like I was gonna ask, as far as the like level up system, like I understand like as you kill guys and as you do things, there's an experience
yeah,
bar.
so there's no
Now, is
numbers
there like
flying.
actual okay, that was my question. Like
There
is there
is a
actual
bar that
level?
progresses.
Right.
It's basically
But
they
is
call
that to unlock like abilities and stances and so on and so forth?
no.
Because it's like,
It's
are
all
you actually
unlocked. It's
getting
all
like
unlocked different ways. Stances are unlocked by defeating commanders or enemy
okay,
leaders.
right,
And basically, when you observe or eliminate Mongol leaders from like the different camps and forts and stuff,
sure,
I can't remember what they call it, but like it takes so many times of doing it, and then you unlock a new stance. And there's the 4 stances. You start with the first stance. Like there's
right,
water stance, like moon stance. I can't remember all the names right now.
okay,
But you unlock them through combat
sure.
naturally. So you want to unlock stances very quick. Little helpful tip here: if you play ghosts, observe the leaders before you kill them. Then you'll get 2 points because you get 1 point for
Oh,
killing them. But if you're able to sneak around the enemy's camps and observe the leader, then because that's essentially like that's how he's learning the counters. That's kind of what the stances are based around. You
right.
observe the enemy, and then it's like you get an extra point, kill them,
Oh, okay.
and then you learn the stances. So that's how you
That's
get
kind
the
of cool.
stances. You get health from level. It's I guess leveling up. There's different stages to Jin's legend
Okay.
as you progress. Like it's like a bar, and there's like notches every once in a while, and each time you level up a notch by killing enemies, doing missions, doing quests, whatever. Everything you do
Playing
contributes
the
to this.
game.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Every once in a while,
Sure.
you get a technique point, and the technique points
Okay.
are used to unlock new techniques.
Sure.
Whether it be like extra moves in each of the stances, whether it be new tools or new ways to use your tools or new parry stuff. Like
Right.
there's a samurai tree of abilities, there's a stances, and then there's like the whole ghost tree of abilities and tools. And you use your technique
That's the
points to
ninja
unlock
tree.
more stuff. Pardon?
The ghost is the ninja tree.
Yeah, I guess it's a ninja. Pretty much.
Ninja.
It's pretty much a ninja.
Right.
You're an assassin. It's
Because yeah,
all
because like I've dove quick spoiler alert, I guess, but like I dove back into Assassin's Creed Odyssey because I'm like I need to fucking finish that because we got a new Assassin's Creed game coming out and Odyssey was really rad and I want to see the end of Cassandra's story because let's be honest, she's pretty fucking
she
awesome.
is pretty awesome.
So I've been, of course, diving back into that, and I was kind of curious. One of the things that was curious, obviously, to me was like in Assassin's Creed. One of the things that I'm at that weird spot now where I'm at like level 42, I think, but like a bunch of the guys and stuff that I need to
It's level
assassinate are
50,
like
right?
46 and 47 and 45, and I'm like, so now I have to
50
go
was the old level
do
is the level cap, right?
yeah, 50 is
Well,
the
the
level
old
cap.
level cap because I think they upped it.
They might have upped it for like the bonus stuff or whatever. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they
Um,
did.
but like, so like the thing is now is like I've got to do story missions and so on and so forth to try and move myself forward to try and get those levels. Cause like I took on a couple guy. Well, I took on a guy that was a couple levels ahead of me. I mean, mind you, he was also a bounty hunter, so that was a whole different situation. But like, it gets pretty tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the way that they level gated everything in the game, I was kind of curious like how Ghosts handled that aspect of it. Like, can you just kind of go anywhere on the island and do your thing, kind of
Yeah,
Obviously, the story missions are going to
the
unlock things
the
as you
story
go. Like,
missions gate the island is essentially the whole game is like divvied up into 3 acts.
right.
So essentially, the island is divvied into 3 sections,
Okay.
3 major
That's cool.
sections.
Right. But I
And
just meant like at no point am I gonna like if I just like if you wanted to say mainline the story, for example, like I'm
if
assuming it
you
might be a little
mainline this,
difficult.
the enemies get tougher. Absolutely, because
Right.
you start fighting Ronin, and you
Sure.
start, which are basically Japanese, like they're not
Well,
samurais. They're
samurais without a
basically,
master.
pardon.
They're samurais without a master.
Well, they're basically mercenaries.
Yeah,
They don't.
that's what I mean.
They failed at being like taken
A
up by a
samurai.
lord or like
Yep.
a clan. So then they're Ronin, and they're basically mercenaries for the most
Yeah.
part. So you end up fighting some Ronin. You end up fighting like higher end Mongols, like full armored Mongols, like which are much
Right.
tougher. So if you
Yep.
didn't do some of the like health, like if you didn't build up your health bar by doing some of the quests,
Okay.
because there's hot springs hidden all over the island, and if you just find a hot spring, you get like a little chunk of life, like your max
Nice.
life gets increased.
Sweet.
So I imagine if you kind of just stuck to the main storyline, some of the further encounters might get pretty tough if you don't have a
Right.
lot if you don't have a lot of life to spare, because when you do get hit, you take a decent amount of damage.
Okay.
Because you're not super invincible.
Right.
So
What
having
are
that,
the like what are the difficulty levels in like is there multiple or
I
is
think
it
there
is
was
it
I
kind of
think there
more
was
like
I
there's
can't remember. I think
one
there
and
was
then you can
three.
adjust a couple things?
I think there was three.
Okay.
I don't know if you can adjust specific stuff because I didn't go into that. It
Right.
there is no trophy for completing the game on any difficulty level,
Yay.
which is kind of nice because that means I don't have to replay this game on hard.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the trophies and I'm like, I could actually do the the platinum on this. Like it's pretty
That
doable,
that's what a lot of people actually were
and
saying.
you
Like,
don't
man,
have to get all the collectibles either.
yay.
There's some collectibles like there's Mongol collectibles and there's some other collectibles as well. You only need the trophies for those. You only need to get 20, and those
Oh,
collectibles
okay.
have something like 50 each, which is
Oh,
kind of nice because those ones you'd have to literally scour every square inch of the island to get all those,
right.
and that might
Which
take
gets
you.
tedious, man.
There is though, I will say there is an armor set that specifically
Hmm.
helps you find collectibles.
Oh,
The traveler's attire
nice.
vibrates when you're near collectibles.
Yeah.
And when you
Go stand by the collectibles.
Eh.
Yeah.
when you level up the armor to its highest level, it like increases the range. Like I think it's like 40 or 50 meters,
Oh,
and
okay.
it kind of
Sweet.
vibrates like more stronger the closer you get. So it's kind of like a hot,
Excellent.
hot, hot, cold. Nope, not that way. Go that way. Oh, okay. Keep going. Yeah, there. It's getting stronger.
Okay.
It's got to be right around here somewhere.
Nice.
It's got that eagle vision kind of thing where you when you stealth around, you can see the outlines of enemies. You can upgrade
Yeah,
that to make
that's
it.
helpful.
You can
Yep.
upgrade that to make it see further. You can upgrade it so
Right.
you can crouch, like you can walk much faster while you're in that stealth mode. You can
Right.
upgrade
Okay.
it so if you're going to assassinate an enemy, it'll actually highlight whether it'll alert anyone else.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
um,
That is so helpful, man. Like as again, going back to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, knowing like if I like
you
off
can
this
kill this
rule,
guy and no one else is
yeah,
going to know.
whether or not it's going to alert the other guys around
Yeah.
him is so helpful. You're like, okay, well,
There's a
better not kill him
chain.
now
There's a
because
cool chain takedown which you can upgrade, like assassination, which you can upgrade up to 3,
sweet.
which looks super freaking badass. Like you're hiding in the bushes and you just like murder 3 guys, like spinning around, stabbing one guy in the neck, spin around, stab the other guy with your sword, and then like throw something at another guy. And it's like, okay, that was freaking awesome, like John Wick style.
Yeah, you feel like a John Wick samurai.
It's
That's pretty awesome.
there's yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff about this game. I really like it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I will play
Wow.
more. I will definitely play more. It has open world jank. It's not a perfect game. Get
Sure.
caught up on the environment. Sometimes the signposting for some of the like there's some challenges that, like, not challenges but activities in it that are kind of like like tombs almost, but they're
Oh,
not
okay.
they're not tombs. They're like climbing mountains and swinging from stuff and trying to find a path
Sure.
up to these like hidden shrines. Um,
Okay.
And sometimes the signposting on that can be a little like, where am I
Not awesome.
supposed to go? Or
Right.
like it's a little janky climbing up or down some of the cliffs. Sometimes there's some weird like, collision with the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty expected for an open world game. And
Sure.
like
Sure.
you didn't mean to go off that edge. And it's like, god damn it.
Yeah, it's like that, you're supposed to jump, and then all of a sudden your character turns around and jumps towards the camera. You're like, "What are you doing? No,
Yeah.
no."
Or
Ah!
you kept walking for some reason when you meant to
Yes.
stop, and there's like, or your momentum took you off the edge.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it controls tight, the combat's tight. There's a lot to like. The music's
I want to play it,
fantastic.
man.
Yeah,
I'm so excited to play it. Like it's
it's
like I
a
said, when I for a long time, I mean, I kind of had an idea of what it was, but they kind of kept it so under wraps that it was like it could be kind of this story driven, more of a, not open world, but more focused,
yeah.
or it could be this like super cool looking open world. Like when they finally showed off, like this is kind of what this game is. Like I said at the time, I was like, this looks like samurai, like Assassin's Creed. And like, in all honesty, if that's kind of what this is,
Samurai's Creed.
I like that's kind of what I'm looking for. Like that makes me happy.
It's literally the game that everyone wanted Ubisoft to make.
That's, I mean,
Since the second Assassin's Creed, right? Maybe even the first one, people are like, ninjas, go to Japan, go to Japan,
mean,
go to
yeah,
No,
like
we're going
I
to
would
America.
honestly,
No, we're going to here. We're going to the Bahamas.
yeah.
We're going freaking to England. Go to goddamn fucking Japan, man. Like
I mean,
10 games ago.
I would love to see them do like a true Assassin's Creed Japan with
Well,
like actual
can they now?
ninjas.
Can they now?
I mean, but with actual like ninjas, you know what I mean? Like freaking set it in Okinawa, like set it all up properly. Like I think that would be fucking cool as hell. Or hey, just give me a new Tenchu game, make a fucking open world Tenchu game, and make it awesome. Because God, I would love to play another Tenchu game because it's been a long, long time, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're
So
at Tsushima Island, an island of Japanese archipelago.
is it actually a real island, or is it a
No,
fake
it
one
is.
made up for
No,
the game?
Tsushima Island is an island of the Japanese archipelago situated in between the Tsushima Strait and Korea Strait, approximately halfway. Stupid entry got cut off because I was just reading the thing. Halfway
Oh,
between the
okay.
Japanese mainland and the Korean peninsula.
Interesting. I
The
didn't
main
realize
island of
it was over there.
Tsushima was once a single island, but was divided into two by the blah 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 canal and into three. Well, that makes sense with the
It's a
three.
pretty good size island, actually. Wow.
The island measures about 70 kilometers by 15 kilometers. Population of 34,000 as of 2013.
Sweet. Yeah, that's a good size island.
It, I didn't, stupid of me, I didn't even realize it was a real island. But they always reference the mainland and the Mongols taking their attack onwards. And it was like,
Right.
you were like one of the first places they hit kind of thing. So,
I mean, looking at the map, seeing where that island is, that would make sense, right? You'd
yeah,
come
coming
through
from,
Korea,
yeah,
and then
coming
you'd,
from the west.
see that island over. You'd hit that island, then you'd carry on to actual mainland Japan. So, I mean, that makes sense.
It, yeah, awesome game. I highly recommend it. There's so much to talk about. Obviously, I've probably glossed
Yeah.
over some stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
I like the other cool thing that they revealed, like that whole guiding wind, the navigation system.
Yeah,
At
it looks
first,
cool.
like they showed in the video, and it's in the review video I did. Like,
Yeah.
instead of arrows or pointers or like waypoint beacons, basically the wind shows you where to go. And at first, it's like, okay, the wind's going that way, and like I get it, but then it's like after a little while, you really get it, and the way the
Right.
trees sway and the leaf, because it's not just the wind, it's the leaves, it's like it's flowers, it's the cherry blossoms, the autumn leaves, like you name it. There's
Right.
just
Yeah,
there's so
yeah.
many particles in this game all the time, and they're literally like, go that way, go that way, it's that way. And if they use the touchpad, so if you swipe up, then it like causes a gust of wind to kind of remind you which way you're going.
Oh, that's cool.
And it
That's a
actually
cool idea.
with the touchpad you can like swipe to the right, and that forces him to like sheath his sword and do the cool little animation. If you swipe down, Jin will actually start playing the flute. Like you can unlock little tunes.
Right.
Like you find what are they singing crickets? I think you find them around the game, and after you find so many, he learns a new song. So like you can be on
cool.
horseback, and he's like just playing like a little tune on his flute, or walking, and it's really There's so many cool little things they have in it that are just like, oh, this is so cool. Your horse.
Like I said, I'm super excited to check it out. It
I
looks
was
so cool.
The story made me raging mad. I got
Like,
really freaking sad at a couple points.
wow.
When we get into spoiler territory, the one part that made me really sad, it was rough.
Well, don't spoil anything because I'm
not going to spoil anything. And now, speaking of the flute, it really makes goddamn sense of the weird E3 when they had the world's top flute playing guy. Remember that? Everyone was, why the fuck do they have this weird guy playing the flute? It absolutely makes sense now because you play the flute. Because you play the flute in the fucking game.
Right. Little Ocarina of Time
I
throwback.
also highly recommend, if you play the game, prioritize the mythic quests. You get awesome moves and awesome armor sets. Like
Sweet.
Some of the best moves in the game are from the mythic tales, and you find the mythic tales from like talking to people, like because people will tell you stories, and then they kind of direct you towards. They're really cool.
Hey, I heard this story about this.
Well,
thing
they're
that
really
happened over
it's
there.
yeah.
You should
Well,
maybe go check it out.
And then what happens is when you go there, there's a musician.
Oh,
like
okay.
the traveling musicians with their like little guitars doing the cool Japanese music, and they tell you the stories, and then that sets you on their quest. And they have these really cool, super stylized like cutscenes telling the story that are like they're kind of like watercolor art, but it's all animated, and it's like the story of like what's just say this one samurai, and he went to go confront the storm, and in this storm he found this stuff, and it's all animated, and then he learned this technique, and it's like, okay, that's pretty fucking badass. And they usually like end up with some pretty awesome, like there's some really cool like set piece like duels that some quests culminate in, which is fighting like these certain enemies to unlock stuff, and they're usually
like super anime, super film.
Oh god, they're super anime. They're super like they happen in like this one fight, for example. You're fighting in this area that's all flowers, surrounded by trees and these statues, and then like fireflies, like just glowing
Of course.
Everything is, but there's so many of them, and they're all so different and varied. But they're literally like a fighting game stage crafted just for like the end of like this one little quest line for whatever reason, and it's like so badass, and it's cool because Jin, some of these people are his enemies, right?
Yeah.
And on a story quest, it's like he's like, we don't have to do this.
Yeah.
And the one guy's, no, I gave my word to what's his nuts. I've been waiting for you. Let's battle. And like they have these awesome conversations. And Jin gives so many people that his enemies out. He's like, I don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to kill you. This is going to end with you dying. I'm giving you an out. And some of the conversations are so cool. And there's some neat stuff that happens there. And then there's people where he's like, I'm going to straight up murder you. You're an evil person, and I'm going to end your terror here. And he's an awesome main character. I played with the Kurosawa mode a little bit, but it's super cool, but it's pure black and white. And it's
I understand like there's a lot of colors in that game.
It gets hard. It's kind of hard to tell where you're going because the world is so colorful and flowing. The world is leading you and signposting you so much with that stuff that though that mode is so cool as a nod to Japanese like samurai cinema
films. Yeah.
It's in playing the game. I didn't like it because a lot of the depth perception was gone in that mode. It was cool for photo mode and just for like, this is fucking awesome. Look at this. But I liked playing the game like the way it was meant to be played. But
I've been hearing like some people are saying like it'd be awesome for like a second playthrough or
I'm just fucking around after I might fuck around with it more. So anyway, Yeah, that's Ghost. It's dope.
I want to play it. I'm
Yeah.
very excited. I'm super stoked. So
I also played some Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. That came out on
oh
Friday.
right,
I
that
picked
was
it up on Switch.
that's the 8-bit
The 8-bit like Castlevania
successor.
3-esque like sequel to the first
Mhm.
Curse of the Moon, which was pretty
Right.
sweet. I haven't beaten it. I've just played a little bit. I don't
What are you playing it on?
on Switch.
Okay.
It's a perfect Switch game. It was like $18. I didn't realize it came out last week. Like after we recorded, I thought it was coming out like on just this past Tuesday.
Okay.
But no, it like was out on Friday. I didn't even know this was out. I instantly purchased it and started playing it.
Right.
It seems pretty
And
great. It's like more the same game.
Mhm.
It's all new characters now. Well, minus the main character from the last game is still here, but
Okay.
the party of new allies is different. You
Sweet.
you play as a robot or as a corgi who pilots a mech. Is one of your
All right.
teammates.
Sold. I'm in. I'm in now. You told you. I mean, I love corgis. They're, I mean,
I'm
pretty
pretty
much the
sure
best
it's a
dog.
corgi.
So, and now, like, you tell me that you're gonna be a corgi piloting a mech. That's fucking awesome. So,
I wonder. I don't think they probably don't show it on the wiki
I
or
don't
the
see it
website
anywhere.
because he's the
But
last character you unlock.
oh, okay.
And they show the mech in the key art, but they don't show
Right.
who's piloting it,
That's awesome.
which is pretty sweet. Oh, you can play as characters in the first game? What?
What?
How do you do that? Probably after you beat it. I haven't beat it yet.
Okay.
But it's that thing, it's like it's 8-bit, but it's not. It's kind of
It looks more
16-bit.
like, I was gonna say it looks more 16 than 8.
Yeah,
to be
but
honest.
it's not because 16-bit has a bigger palette, I think. But it has like giant bosses and multi-staged boss fights, kind of like,
This looks like much more of a like Sega Genesis game than a Nintendo game, though.
Okay, clearly I haven't played that far because it's showing like 8 characters in the party here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 8 characters. So I must just be about halfway then, because yeah, I see some of the characters in the first game, and Miriam from Ritual of the Night.
Right.
This is a cool game. I really like it. I'm gonna play more, but I was finishing up Ghost, so
Yeah.
if you like the first one, it's more of that. I highly recommend it. I'll have more to say when I probably beat it and get a little farther.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. I might have to pick it up. It looks pretty cool.
If you like the first one, absolutely do it.
I don't actually know that I played the first one, to be honest with you.
Well,
I mean, I played obviously Bloodstained, but not the Curse of the Moon one, which was like the weird, like you said, like this 16-bit sort of precursor.
Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. I think
Mm-hmm.
Lou posted it in the deals forum that it had launched, and that's what reminded me. I'm like, but for whatever reason, I thought it was like not like I said, I thought it was coming out the Tuesday, and it was like no, it was out when he posted it. So
Yeah. Came out on the 10th.
yeah, I played some Fortnite real quick. Got a win before we recorded with the boys on the podcast you never heard before. Basically, that's our Fortnite party chat. It's the world's biggest podcast no one listens to. I'm just a guest. I'm not the host. The host, that's Yuri and Luz. They're the hosts of that show. They graciously let me guest on it once in a while, and we pulled off a pretty sweet victory royale on that. Speaking of Fortnite,
Nice.
I also started playing with my 6-year-old twin niece and nephews. I've gotten 2 victory royales with them. They're 6 years old.
Wow. So they're carrying you, is what you're saying.
Pretty much. My nephew Landon is the guy builds like skyscrapers. Like he spins like what do they call it? Cranking 90s or crank? I forget what they call it. There's some YouTuber Fortnite term for it. Literally, it's like a spiral and he's just in the sky. And I'm sitting here on my high-end PC and I'm like, 1 wall, 2 walls, still on the ground, mind you. I haven't even completed a box yet. He's 6
Right.
stories in the sky.
Sure.
Like it's just embarrassing. But we managed to win a couple games. Now, if I can get it's not just the twins; it's their older sister too. But I think she's only 8. I believe she's only 8. Bad uncle. Bad Uncle
Yeah,
Rico.
really. Jeez.
So it's like we have full squad. It's my brother's 3 kids and me,
Right.
and they're so excited, like, which is kind of cute. Like, I love it. They just are dying to play with me, and they
What are
didn't
they
have
playing it on, out of curiosity?
PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh, okay.
2 of them play it split screen on the PlayStation, and 1 of them plays it on the Xbox. And I gave them headsets, like, so they could chat because they didn't have headsets before.
Right.
Because I had a drawer full of old headsets. Like, here,
Yeah,
have some
I
headsets.
have a drawer full of old headsets. Also, so
For
I know
some
what that
reason,
is.
the stupid Xbox branded original headset that came with the dongle, for some reason in Fortnite, it has issues with audio. Like,
Oh,
it's like you got to turn the chat off and then on again and, like, reset the chat settings for it to work for some reason.
weird.
Like, I thought it was my nephew's controller, but I don't think it was, because it might have been his controller, but I ain't going to give a goddamn controller. Those are way too expensive. But I'm pretty sure it was the game, because I had it and I used one of my controllers with their system, and
Right.
the voice chat wasn't working. I'm like, what is going on? Like, it's on. Open mic. Party. It's on. Like, the mic icon's on the screen. What the fuck, Xbox? And then, like I said, I would like I would turn it off, or not turn it off. I would change it from open mic to push to talk, apply
Right.
the settings, and then I would reset the settings like to
Interesting.
default, and then the
Yeah,
chat would
and
start
they would
working.
come back.
Yeah, but my brother wasn't around, so the twins, like, it's a little too much for them to kind of figure out. Like, I tried explaining it to them, but they just didn't get it. But
Yeah.
they're so excited. We're in chat. We're playing. They're way too good for 6-year-olds. The thing I will say is I feel like, because they're on 2 different consoles and I'm on PC, I feel like it drags me into a lower tier of competition. Because
Interesting.
the people that we were, like, when I'm the only PC
What level are
person,
they, out of curiosity?
they're like 40, 50 something. They're way ahead of me.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
So
say,
it's
because that might have had something to
so
do
I
with it
don't
as well.
think it's I don't think it's
Sound like
I don't think it's a level. I don't know what does it, but I just know when I play with them, it feels like every enemy is a freaking bot. Whereas when I'm playing with some of the Yuri and Liu, and we
Right.
play, I think when they're on their PlayStations and I'm on PC, it drags us up a tier, and then we're playing other PC players, which are like godly,
Interesting.
or maybe they're just amazing console players. But like, we played a game like right before we recorded. They were both playing on Switch, and
Right.
I'm on PC, and I swear we were playing against, like, no offense, like, we won. It was awesome. I got 7
Sure.
kills, but like, the enemies were just like, they were just standing there. They were like bad. Like, it wasn't
Right,
hard.
okay.
And I'm not the best at Fortnite. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
I am amazing, but I'm not that amazing. I'm not
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
how
not
the,
cranking 90s
Yeah.
or
I don't
whatever
know
the
how
hell the
the
term is.
the matchmaking stuff works with all that.
So I feel
that's
like when you
very
have some
curious.
of the lower systems or a diverse party like that, it puts you in a lower competitive pool or something. Or maybe they know I suck and they feel bad for me and they want me to win. Maybe
Well,
I'm the
better,
one.
man.
Maybe it's my fault. Maybe because
Yeah.
I'm so bad, it
Should've
puts us
need
in a
to start
pool
playing with
with
me more
worse
often.
players. I don't know. Still, Fortnite. It's stupid, but it's still fun. I love it.
I haven't even played since they like flooded the map or whatever. So
Yeah, well, now that,
lots of
like,
sharks and
see,
the-
Last
and
of
the-
Us
and
is done,
boats
Ghost
and
is
all that.
done. I have more time. I also played some goddamn Destiny, but we won't talk about it. You played some Iron Man VR. I have Iron
did.
Man VR, but I didn't. I haven't played it yet. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I tried. It was hilarious. I was gonna play it on Sunday, so I went to play it, and both my Move controllers
I
batteries
saw
were
you
shot.
post that. Yeah,
And
of
I was
course
like,
there was dead.
Fuck. Of course, like, because to be fair, it's been a while since I played them, and so then I plugged them in, and then I forgot to. My plan was to plug them in, like plug one in, then plug the other one in the morning before, so that I could play on Monday night. But then, of course, I forgot. So, anyways, so by Tuesday, I had 2 fully charged Move controllers, and I was able to become Iron Man. I mean, obviously. I will say this: when that game hits, it's like when that game nails it, that game nails it, and you're like, I'm fucking Iron Man. This is amazing. But
Like
yeah,
that?
oh yeah,
I am
you feel like a badass, and you're looking down and you see the glowing on your chest. It's an Iron Man VR
Like
game.
the
You're
demo
playing
that we've
as,
played before, that's the intro of the game, right?
that's the prologue. So when you load
Prologue.
it
So
up,
that's not even the
so
proper
when you load it
intro.
up, no,
That's
like
like,
when you
this is
load
how
it
to
up,
play the game, you idiot.
yeah. So if you've never played the game before, it's like, hey, we're gonna send you into the prologue,
That's
and
the
then you
demo
play
you
that
can
over
essentially
again.
download on PSN.
Pretty much, yeah. And then after that, it actually gets into this story, and then it's cool. There's like this. There's a cool mix of levels where you're playing as Iron Man in the suit, where you're flying around and you're shooting stuff, and you've got blasters and oh yeah,
Those are really
oh yeah,
bad
and you got
laser.
your
Man, I
chest
need to practice the
chest
laser
cannon, and
sounds.
you got your like little rockets that shoot out of your arms, and like there's an upgrade system where
No, he
as
goes
you
like
finish
this. That's
levels,
Iron Man's
depending on
rockets,
how you
right?
do, um, it'll you'll get like essentially like level up points, and you can use those to purchase upgrades on your armor. There's like a story that's going on. Your Iron Man. Pepper Potts is involved. She's super cool. There's a cool mix of you're flying around as Iron Man and also like more or less on foot being Iron Man. So like after you kind of do the prequel stuff or the prologue stuff, you like go into the house and you meet up with Pepper and you like walk around the house essentially, and like you can pick up stuff and like look at the magazine and like turn stuff on and like all the stupid shit that you always want to do in VR that's fun to do, right? Like you go down to the garage and
All his suits out.
he's got like his like weights, so you can like go over and like you can do
That was
push-ups
like
and
a little
chin-ups,
mini game, or
and
just
he's
for
no,
fucking
just
around.
like you can just
Just
fuck
because you
around
can,
with
it's a
it.
VR game.
Yeah,
Here, touch and grab everything. This is VR.
exactly.
Look, you can throw it across the room.
Totally. You open up the fridge and there's food in there, so you like eat the apples and like
Or
eat
you
the
just start
cherries and
knocking
like
everything over because you
ex-
can.
exactly. Just so like all that's fun, and then obviously you go back into being Iron Man in the suit and you're flying around. There's a pretty cool one of the first things. You're in an airplane and some stuff goes on, and like I won't lie, like I was a little freaked out because like you essentially jump out of the airplane, and I was like, how are they going to handle this? Like because literally just jumping out of an airplane in VR could be pretty like whoa.
I take it you jump
uh,
out as Tony, not as Iron Man.
yeah. It's cool. I mean, like I said, I don't want to spoil it because I know you haven't played it yet, and it's a cool moment. It's a cool moment. It's stuff. It's cool shit that you've seen in the movies, but you get to do it in real life. Like you get to do it as Tony. You know what I mean? Like, and so that part of it is neat. Um, fuck man, the level loading in that game is fucking
Yeah, I've
abysmal.
heard
It's
because you're trapped in VR, it's like exceptionally worse.
oh, it's bad, and like and it horrible inopportune moments too, like some of the like I don't understand how you can have like these huge open world games where like I'm in Assassin's Creed Odyssey and I can run from one side of the map to the other, and or I could be in Spider-Man and I could literally swing across the city and not have a loading screen, and yet when I go to do like Iron Man VR, it's got to like in order for me to jump out of the airplane, it can't even do that seamlessly. It's like it's loaded up
Ah,
everything.
no, no,
I'm in the scene.
no.
What did you do?
I'm just saying I'm planning. No, I hate that's the worst when it goes to
That's
black screen. And
that's the
it like,
thing.
did you not learn anything from God of War? No
S-
loading screens.
So that's the thing, right? Is like you jump out of the airplane and then all of a sudden it's like black screen and a loading
Ah,
bar that goes across, and then of course then it starts up again, and it's just like
for like a minute.
they're long. Like I would say probably 20 seconds, like 15,
Which
20
feels
seconds.
like 100 years.
But that's not even those aren't even the bad ones. The
Oh
bad ones
God,
are like
what?
the bad ones are like when you're actually loading into like a new level, like so it's like split up into chapters. So when you like load a new chapter, you're like sitting in this like a loading area, and it's like talking about like chapter 3. Here's kind of a little thing of what's going on, and you're like standing there, and it's like you're in a it's like you're inside of a computer. You can kind of like mess around with
Yeah.
some stuff a little bit here and there and things like that. But like it's that fucking bar is loading and I like no joke 30-40 seconds if I had to guess. Like it's long. Like next time I play it, I'll like actually time it because it's seriously like surprisingly long.
That's not good.
And it's brutal because it's so cool when you're being Iron Man, but to have that all of a sudden just like careen into a black screen with loading, it's
That just takes
yeah.
you out of it.
Oh, it's so brutal.
No, no.
Yeah, so that's really one thing that has been a huge downer. Um,
I've heard that as a complaint from like
yeah.
basically Greg said that when I was
The other
listening.
thing I will say is like the best thing about being in a VR game is being able to interact with all the stupid shit.
Yeah.
And when you reach out to pick something up and you can't, and your hand is just doing the fist motion, but it's like
What?
stuck in place, or your hand just goes right through it because it's not something that you're supposed to be able to pick up, but it looks like you should be able to pick it up, or it's something that you would think you should be able to pick up. Like, for example, you're in the kitchen and there's like a plate of food, and like so you reach over and you can pick up all the food and you can eat it. You know, you it's great. You pick up the cherries, each one of them by the stem, and you eat each one. You pick them up with your thumb and your forefinger, like little like, ooh, and you eat the cherries. Like you can do that each one at each. It's great. But like there's a coffee machine there, and you know you reach over thinking like I should be able to like grab that and like throw. No, it's like little stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like there's it's that it's you're so immersed and you're like, oh, this is great, but it's like they went halfway but they didn't follow through all the way. And that and then it's immersion breaking,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Do you think
um
it's is that limits the PSVR or the
I
PlayStation?
don't
You
know.
think, or just like
I don't know,
maybe some mistakes they made?
because like when I've played like the London Heist demo, for
Oh yeah,
example,
That's an awesome game.
like like there
I
was
forgot about that.
tons of shit. Like I remember like sitting in the bar, you know, like sipping the drink and like lighting the cigar and like you know what I mean? Like you were doing all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much everything that was on the table you could grab and you could pick up and you know, like pick up the gun or pick up this like, you know, pick up the ashtray and throw it at a guy if you wanted. Like, you know, so I don't know. You know, but there's also like he's got like a little arcade setup where he's got what are those little like mini basketball games like you have at like the
Yeah, like
carnivals and stuff?
that you get the tickets at and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, he's got one of those, so you can like press the start button and you can like totally do that, and like you know like there's fun little shit that you can like mess around with. I'm only on chapter. I'm like I think I'm halfway through chapter 3 right now, so I played a few hours last night. Um, so I'm still pretty early, so I'm kind of curious because like right now I will definitely say like there was one mission that was fucking rad. Like, and that was one of the first ones that you do after sort of the prologue and like that kind of
You're
stuff is
wondering
done.
how well they keep that up, that momentum with
Yeah,
cool levels.
cause like after that, some you know some because of sort of that, you know, it actually goes back to the house, and you have a whole nother that's very similar to the prologue where it's like, hey Tony, so here's some upgrades, and it's like the course outside his house
Mm.
again, and I'm like, really, like we're gonna do this again? Like I get it, you're teaching me some new stuff or whatever, and I want to make sure that you can do it and stuff, like
And hopefully you don't
okay.
do that every other level.
But like if this is a way for them to kind of pad the game out, like, oh well, we taught you one more neat, like, so we'll see. There was another level that I did where you're kind of it's supposed to be like, and this is partly to do with like the limitations I think of the PlayStation VR. There's a level where you're flying around in a city, and like it does not look very good. It
Yeah,
looks
I
it,
heard
it looks
that that
it,
the scenery can vary greatly in terms of
oh
quality.
yeah. So like the city that I was in, you're supposed to be in like Shanghai, and it's like it felt very like kind of PlayStation 2 almost, like you know like you're flying around, there's buildings but that's about it, like there's not really anything on the ground, like it's just you know um
That's probably the limits of the PlayStation VR.
yeah,
More
I'm
the
not sure.
PlayStation than the VR.
Yeah, I don't know because like obviously like I've seen Spider-Man, fucking that city in Spider-Man looks pretty fucking incredible. Like,
In VR?
well,
You got to
no,
remember they got to
no,
render it twice, right? For
yeah,
each eye.
no,
So
I guess
like
for each
that's
eye,
where it
yeah.
kind of that's where the PlayStation 4 like falls short in terms of VR, right? Like if
Hmm.
when it comes to real world stuff, like that's its biggest weakness. But then you get stuff like Beat Saber, which is like super stylized
Totally.
lasers and like
Yeah,
just shapes but no real backgrounds. That stuff is
yeah,
always like super high, like high, very sharp and like just better fidelity than when you start getting into they're trying to do a city and it's like oh this looks like PS2 graphics.
yeah. So, so that's fine. I like, but in all honesty, the gameplay in that was kind of like you're flying around, you're shooting some stuff. There, like it's kind of like go to this area. There's a big kind of ball will kind of show up to sort of show you like, hey, this is kind of the next area you should be in. So you got to kind of fly over there. um I've been kind of doing a mix of like you can like look all over totally however you want, but then they have it set up like similar to the demo I'm sure that we played, where you could hit the buttons on the controller to adjust like where you're going. Because like part of the thing for me is like I don't have a huge area to play VR in, so like I got to be careful. Like the area that I've got, I can pretty much
Pow, pow. Oh, there
spin
goes my
my
TV.
well, I'm not. Luckily, I'm far enough away from my TV. I'm not worried about hitting my TV. But it's like, there's chairs and there's a couch and there, you know what I mean. Like, so like I've got room enough to kind of do it,
There's your
but I
wife.
can't really,
Pow.
deviate
There's the cat.
from that.
Meow.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, so like they do have a good system sort of in place. You can kind of like look down and if you do kind of deviate from sort of the home area, it'll pull up kind of the digital walls and like let you know like, hey, you're kind of outside of your home,
Mm.
which is cool.
Yeah, because you set your little zone on the floor.
Yeah.
So
Um
it's good. It has moments of great.
yeah, dude, when it's great, it's fucking awesome. And I'm just hoping that there's more of those moments. Is I guess what's
Yeah.
like, because like to me, those moments were so cool that I can deal with some bullshit nonsense, gamey, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as there's more of those moments coming. If there's not, then it'll be a huge bummer. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm only on chapter 3, so I'll definitely play some more. Uh, right now, with my house being a million degrees, playing a VR game where I'm waving my arms and standing for 2 hours is not exactly the nicest thing to do. Like when I'm done, I'm all like drenched in sweat and feeling disgusting. So, there's that.
Yeah, I wanted to play it, but I was like just like beelining
Ghost.
Ghost, and
Yeah.
it's like I can't play Iron. I can't afford to play Iron Man right now. But now that that's kind of
Yeah.
done, I can
So,
play it.
supplied by Sony. So I did not
Hashtag
full
provided by
disclosure.
PlayStation.
Yes, I did not purchase it. So yeah, so like I said, I'm curious. I'm curious how long it is. Like it looks like there's quite a few chapters.
Oh yeah, I heard it wasn't the
Looking,
longest game.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just felt like I played it for a long time because the loading was so
Yeah,
bad.
well maybe you can't, but you definitely can't beat it in one session.
No, I guess it depends on how long your session was. But I played for a few hours. I played for an hour and a half or so last night, and I was on chapter 3 out of, from what I can gather, there's like 12 or 15 chapters. So like according to, I'm just going purely off of the trophy list, where it's kind of like trophy 1, chapter 1, and then hidden trophies and you count out how many hidden trophies. So again, I don't know. It's not an exact science, but we'll see.
Nice. I will play it.
So yeah,
Do you have a lot to add for Spellforce? You played more?
it's just very good.
Did you just remind everyone it's cool?
It's very good.
It looked cool.
I had a moment where I felt like a real asshole because I dove into an RTS section of that game and I was like, I had this whole epic battle going on and I just felt like I was getting completely creamed. And turns out that I didn't realize that I could upgrade my town hall, get like a whole new like set of level
Bwomp, bwomp,
2
bwomp.
like armor and guys and like so like right around the time when I was like, there's got to be something wrong. Like this battle seems way too difficult. Like I'm barely able to hold this like tied back like at this one like sort of one choke point. I was able
Yeah.
to kind of use the choke
And
point
it was
to
just because you were outnumbered because you didn't produce enough units properly.
but it wasn't even so much that I wasn't producing enough units. It was that I wasn't producing enough like good units. You know what I mean? It's like that I was fighting with level 1 units and they were fighting with level 2 units kind of an idea. So anyways, once I realized where I'd gone wrong, I quickly rectified it and that was the end of that. But that game is a lot of fun. It's
Looked
surprising.
cool when I watched the trailers
So
last week.
I'm gonna continue on that. And like as we touched on earlier, I've dove back into Odyssey. Nothing really new besides that game is so fucking good. But I'm trying to not get too distracted with side quests, and I'm trying to just do sort of like the main story and the Atlantis stuff.
Yeah.
Those are kind of like the two that's the stuff that I'm trying to get sorted. Although the funny thing is that along the way I'm also doing a couple other ones because that's just the way those games work. I feel like I'm so close to like finishing it. I'm level 42. The level cap's like 50 for the first game or for the like single player part of that game. I don't think I'm gonna go with like to spend the money at this point to do the like XP boost. Like I feel like I'm far enough in at this point. If I was
You're pretty close.
yeah, like I feel like I don't necessarily like I that said, I didn't realize I've almost 70 hours in that game.
It's a huge game.
Like
I
I
just
was at
cheated and
six,
got the XP boost.
I'm at like when I loaded up my save from earlier this year or last year or whatever when I started it, I was at 68 hours and I'm probably a little over 70
What do you?
hours.
We got that on PlayStation, right?
Yeah, PS4.
Yeah, that's right. That's what Ubisoft gave us.
Yeah.
Ubisoft. Speaking of which, that's
So
going to be our top next story in the news.
yeah, so fuck, game's huge.
Shall we get into it,
Great.
Dane? The news?
Let's get into the news.
The news and stuff. We're like an hour and a half in.
Sweet.
There's a lot to talk about there. Ghost is good. I couldn't shut
Yeah.
up. Everything Ubisoft announced during its not E3 event. The story from Kotaku by Ari Notice. Must be someone new at Kotaku. Yeah, Ubi had its Ubisoft Forward event. It was basically a bunch of stuff we already knew. It was just more
Yeah.
Legion, more Valhalla. They showed some mobile game. Elite, was it Elite Squad? Hyperscape's now in open beta, like everyone can play it. Brawl, they showed Brawlhalla. Who cares about Brawlhalla? I don't know. The internet was disappointed with the Valhalla gameplay. Did you see that? Like a lot of people were not very impressed with that.
I don't really know. Like, it looked like Assassin's Creed. Like, it looked exactly like kind of more or less what I expected. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know what they
AC Viking.
were. They looking for more of a deep dive? Were they disappointed that
I
it
think
was
people were
an Assassin's
expecting
Creed
better.
game?
I think people
Like,
were expecting better visuals.
interesting. Did they even announce like what platform it was running on?
All the current gen stuff, they didn't say anything about the next gen.
Yeah, like
I don't think it's coming on
so.
next gen, but they probably
Yeah,
demoed. They must have demoed the PC version. I don't
I'm
know.
just gonna say this right now. I can honestly say, and I know that I am me, and this is not, like I think what they showed off, like I think they showed some cool gameplay of Legion. They showed some gameplay of Valhalla. Technically, if it wouldn't have leaked early, they would have had the kind of the quote unquote bomb at the end would have been Far Cry 6. Everybody would have went, "Oh my god, a new Far Cry!"
Which they didn't show any of Far Cry. It was a CG
No,
trailer.
it was just a CG trailer. Um, I think for me, this really I had a huge rant after because I was actually kind of upset, to be honest with you, about this, and I talked to my wife about it afterwards because she was like, "Oh, what's going on?" Anyways, this this to me, we thought when E3 got canceled that this was going to be the year where everybody showed us why we don't need E3. This was going to be the year where everybody did their own thing and everything was awesome, and everybody went like, "See, we don't fucking need E3. We can get our shit out there. We don't need that. This is great." And if anything, I think this year has showed me that apparently we do fucking need E3 because nobody outside of Sony so far. And to be fair, I'm
We got
hoping to give
Microsoft in a
Microsoft
couple weeks.
I'm hoping to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm hoping that they're going to come out and fucking blow me away like a proper E3 style.
No,
Like,
Microsoft is next week.
deal.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
we're going to delay a day to talk about that. So
Yes.
next week's show is going to be a day late.
So, you know, but so far, everybody that has come out and done their own like press conference on their own schedule at their own time, not under E3 pressure, they have all been like wet farts in the wind. They have all been disappointing. They have all been like yawn fests. Like this like honestly, they would not have showed up to E3 with this. They wouldn't have. They just they wouldn't have done that. And I know that they said, "Hey, we have another one coming." They didn't specify when, but they just said we'll have more to tell you later on in the year.
Another
I'm assuming,
Ubisoft Forward will occur later this summer. So what? Up until
right.
September sometime?
I have no idea. Maybe September, maybe October. Who knows?
But isn't
But like
summer done in
we
September?
we knew like we okay, so we got release dates for a couple of games. That's cool. I appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. But like we literally learned nothing new about pretty much fucking anything. They didn't show off. They didn't even tease next gen stuff. They didn't even tease something like Gods and Monsters or anything new. They didn't show or even talk about anything that's happening next gen. Like this is supposed to be like this was supposed to be the E3 where everybody fucking showed up with their big guns and got everybody excited about because fucking PS5 and the Series
I
X is
wonder
coming
if
out
it's because
this
some of
year.
these games are going to be at the Xbox event in greater detail.
Like
To be honest, it was. I thought it was quite disappointing. It was the quality was good and there was good games, but I think
Sure.
because they didn't manage expectations and the name Ubisoft Forward kind of felt like they were going to unveil some shit.
Yeah.
And it was all known quantities except for a mobile game, which, let's be honest, no one gives a shit about mobile games. Not this audience. People give a shit about mobile games, but you don't unveil mobile games in your not E3 press conference. That is the exact thing you do not show unless you want to get freaking, murdered.
Boot off the stage.
Yeah, look at freaking, Diablo Immortal or whatever that's called. But yeah, it was kind of disappointing.
Like I said, though, like
quality-wise, it was good, but
sure.
it was nothing new. Really, nothing new that mattered to us.
And I feel like them announcing a new Far Cry game. One, I feel like it hasn't been long enough between their last Far Cry game and now. I
When
feel like
was
they
the
need to
last
give
one?
it more time. Well, they did Far Cry 5, and then they did what's it called, the Far Cry New Dawn. Like
Yeah, New Dawn
a
was
year
kind of like
after.
the glorified expansion.
Yeah, but that was only last year.
I like
So
that
this
game.
will
That
be-
game had dope music.
So, but I mean, I guess to me, it wasn't a question of if we were gonna get another Far Cry game. It was only a matter of when. So, like to me, it wasn't like, oh, they're not gonna ever make another Far Cry game again. Like, of course they're gonna make another fucking Far Cry game. Like they sell great, they do great. Of course they're gonna make another one. I wanted to see something new from them. Anyways, so they did like I apologize for everybody that's like hating on me and like they think that they did a great job and like that's fair. I just like my expectations were apparently too high.
No,
I wanted,
yeah, my expectations. It was like I said, it was a good show from like a quality content standpoint. Like it was great, expansion and more information on the games that we already knew existed. But I think I felt like they built it up to show us new stuff. So
Well, like
now
I
what
said,
it kind of highlights
E3 show.
it highlights to me that they've got. They definitely our next story is. It sounds like Skull and Bones has been rebooted. It makes me feel like there's problems with Gods and Monsters, and it makes me feel like there's problems with.
Well, apparently,
What's the other game?
rumor is
No more.
that
What's
they.
numbered the sequel with the monkey? What's that one? Freaking one. Beyond Good and Evil
Oh
2.
God,
So
that game's been fucking vaporware since the PlayStation 3, though.
it also makes me feel like that game is having issues. And then you throw in all the freaking nonsense going on at Ubisoft right now, and
My understanding, because I think they even said this somewhere, I'd have to find the quote, but they flat out said like Gods and Monsters has changed dramatically, and it's not even called Gods and Monsters
Well,
anymore.
the funny thing is that game was supposed to release this spring.
Yeah, I
Legion
know.
was supposed to release last winter.
Yeah, and they were supposed to release Rainbow Six Quarantine this spring too. And again, they didn't even mention that at their conference. So, and then like you said, maybe some of that stuff's gonna get shown off at Microsoft's press conference. Maybe. I guess my thing is like, I was expecting this to be E3 levels of, a press conference, and that's not what we got. I guess is I think my thing, right? Is that on me? Partly, absolutely. Is that partly on them? I think that they should have managed kind of those expectations a little better.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think in this era of like following suit with Nintendo and their little directs they do, we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to talk about that. They straight up like come out and say like,
Right.
hold your horses.
This is what we're gonna fucking talk about.
This shit is not. There's going to be no. This is not going to be there. So this is like they definitely have learned from, because people get excited and it's like, oh, the new Metroid, new this, new that, new Breath of the Wild sequel. Like, no, none of that. We're talking just about this one thing. That's it.
So, and the other thing is that they announced Elite Squad is out on August 27th, which is apparently some sort of a mobile game. But all they showed was a CG trailer, and I have absolutely no idea whatsoever what that game even is. I don't know if it's a card game.
Looks like
I don't know if it's
some kind of squad
strategy game.
It must
I
be
have
some
no idea.
must be some mobile squad based tactics. Like
Is
some
it a third-person shooter action game? No idea.
with microtransactions at the wahoo.
So
So
it was
a little disappointing.
So,
But oh well, it wasn't bad, but we were expecting more. That story was spectacular. Like I said, the next story, Skull and Bones, reportedly gets an internal reboot. This is from Rebecca Valentine at GameHistory.biz. Ubisoft's pirate adventure game Skull and Bones has reportedly undergone a major internal reboot after multiple delays and departure of its original creative director. According to Video Games Chronicle, Skull and Bones is being revamped away from the premium model of other Ubisoft open world titles to a more live storytelling model inspired by elements of Fortnite. I don't know if that's a good comparison. I would say more like freaking what's the pirate game on Xbox? Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
I feel like it's more going that way. I played Skull and Bones at E3 2017.
Dude, we played Skull and Bones a few years ago at PAX.
Yeah,
They had it upstairs.
Yeah, in 2018, and I also played it at E3 2018.
Yeah, that sounds about the year that we played it at PAX.
I have a hoodie. From it, like a Skull and Bones hoodie, and I actually got a T-shirt that one year. And it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, back then we were like, okay.
Well, it was like they from what we played and what it seemed like.
It was multiplayer boat combat from AC.
Yeah, like
except for you controlled a single boat.
Yeah, it seemed like, hey, this is really fun. We should make a game out of this, and that's what they were trying to do. And then it was like this weird sort of PvP thing where like I was gonna go fight other people with their boats, and both of us walked away from it going like, huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a thing.
And
I
it
guess.
doesn't have any, like, you don't combat. There was none of the AC, like, boat-to-boat combat where you're controlling your guy fighting the other crews. It was just straight.
The boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd fire your cannons, and then they would fire their cannons, and you'd ram them.
It was the boat combat minus, like, the controlling the guys when you, like, there was no boarding, like, battles. which was like
So
one of the best parts of like the ship combat is when you effed them up and then you went and boarded them and murdered everyone on the deck.
yeah, well, and they'd said that you weren't going to get out of your boat. Like it was at that time at least they had told us
And the
like
different boats had
that
the
was
different
you know
like captains, which were like kind of stylized like different characters, a la like an
hmm,
Overwatch or something. But yeah, you never controlled them. It's like, okay, that's
no.
just weird. And anyway, that game's been in trouble for a while. I honestly, I almost am surprised that it hasn't been canceled already.
Well, I'm wondering if they're like they feel like there's something there that they can turn into something still and try to recoup some of like obviously the development costs that they've dropped into it because woo.
It's been a while, man, dude. We're getting
Oh
on we're
shoot.
getting on 5 years of a
Oh
game that doesn't
easy.
even that people are like, what is this game? And it doesn't have like a hype cycle of like like no one
Because
really
wasn't this? Didn't they
no
start
no one
developing
really
this
nobody.
after AC4?
It's been a while, and it's like no one care. Is it like no one's chomping at the bit for this game? Like it doesn't have like this hype behind it, like a Cyberpunk or literally any other Ubisoft game where people actually want this. It's just something that's been in development hell for like ever.
Yeah.
Moving along. Ubisoft cleans house with multiple departures due to misconduct investigations. Ugh. This story from
Man.
VentureBeat by Dean Takahashi.
Takahashi.
No, never mind. That's not what we want. After a few weeks of turmoil related to sexual harassment allegations at the French video game publisher, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot announced a number of departures in the company's executive ranks related to misconduct investigations. Ugh. Ubisoft said that these personnel changes are part of the ongoing review of allegations of misconduct and inappropriate behavior, such as sexual harassment by executives. Today's moves come less than 24 hours before the company is announcing that this is right before the Ubisoft Forward event.
Yeah.
Ubisoft's review was instigated by a big movement across the game industry to expose misconduct, and most of this took place on social media. Ubisoft said Serge Hasco, I don't even know how to pronounce that, is resigning from his position as chief creative officer, effective immediately. Ubisoft's co-founder Guillemot will take over that role in the interim, and he'll personally oversee a complete overhaul of the way in which the creative teams collaborate. The company said this follows an earlier report about blah 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 and others in the French publication Numera. Ubisoft has fallen short in its obligation to guarantee a safe, inclusive workplace environment for its employees. This is unacceptable, as toxic behaviors are in direct contrast to values on which I have never compromised and never will. I'm committed to implementing profound changes across the company to improve and strengthen our workplace culture, Guillemot said today in a statement. Moving forward, as we collectively embark on a path leading to a better Ubisoft, it is my expectation that leaders across the company will manage their teams with the utmost respect. I also expect them to work to drive the change we need, always thinking of what is best for Ubisoft and its employees. Yanis Mallet, the managing director of Ubisoft's Canadian studios, will step down from his role and will leave the
Yep.
company effective immediately. Recent allegations have come to light in Canada against multiple employees, making it impossible for him to continue in his position, the company said. Additionally, Ubisoft will appoint global head of human relations to replace their head CR guy, because apparently HR was covering up stuff as opposed to investigating. You know what? This is something I learned from all of this is I used to think HR was on your side if you had a problem at work, but HR is there to help the company avoid litigation and lawsuits, and they're
Yep.
not really there to help you.
Nope.
So that's gross.
So there was a I don't know if the article came out after this. I was just trying to find it actually. There was an article written by a French newspaper that went way deeper into a
Yeah.
whole bunch of stuff, and it was an incredible read. Apparently, a ton of this stuff had to do with HR specifically, like at the top, like not willing to like. Apparently, over half of the allegations that are coming to light now actually had formal complaints
Complaints.
to HR, and they literally swept it under the rug and did nothing about it.
Sweet. That's good.
It's been brutal. So apparently, Cecile Carnet has been moved out of that role. Um, and yeah, it's like that article. I would highly recommend you go check it out. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out where I was reading it so that I could give it to you guys. But if it's not hard to find, but it paints a very interesting picture of things coming to light. And like you said, like HR, and like the question that I have is, these are guys at the very top of Ubisoft. You're talking about the chief creative officer for the entire company, for the entire company spanning multiple places. I It makes me wonder, how could Yves Guillemot not kind of know what these people were like? Like, you're on private jets flying to E3 together. You're hanging out with do you know what I mean? Like, how do you that's the thing that kind of is like a little bit worrisome to me, is like how, like, he says like, "Oh, I had no idea that this was going on, that these people were
But
like
then
that,
HR was
etc.,
covering up
etc."
so many things.
But you've got HR over here covering up shit, and then you've also got, the head of, like, you're talking about like your chief creative officer, like that guy. You know, you're his boss. You know what I mean? Like,
You should
like, I
know
don't
what
know,
he's
like,
up to.
well, or at least have a pretty good idea. Like, oh man, he seems kind of like a douchebag. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so like the stories coming out about that guy specifically, you know, people like the things that he was doing and saying and getting away with, quote unquote, like, they're
How
gross.
and how
Like
does
like
Eve
and he
not know
doesn't,
about it?
right, and it doesn't sound like this was the type of stuff that people were like shy, like he didn't seem like the type of person that was like not shy about slapping that girl on the ass, and you know what I mean? Like that
Yikes.
sounds like the type of person that he was. Like, you mean to tell me that Yves and him weren't hanging out after work for drink? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it kind of makes me wonder like how much of that he did or didn't know. He's pretending. Oh, I had no idea that it was this, like, this was going on. I'm Yves and I'm gonna take care of it personally. So that's a little disconcerting. The other thing that was a little disconcerting was that in the article I was reading, they were talking about how internally this is being taken at Ubisoft, and it sounds like a lot of this has not been taken well by manager, like middle management, and sort of like that tier at Ubisoft. Apparently, they talked to some of the women and some of the people at Ubisoft that that are still working there since this has been going on, and apparently, like, they were just saying like it has not been it has almost been worse since all of this has started happening for
Yikes.
them, because internally a lot of these managers and a lot of these people, they're saying like, oh, this is just a big witch hunt. This like, they don't, it's, and it sounds to me like this needs to come a lot further down. Like, this isn't just we need to fire a bunch of people up here. Like, it sounds like this is fairly heavily rooted
Yeah, the
in some of
culture
these.
is.
Yeah, and that's scary. Like how crappy is it if you're working there and you're a female or whatever, and now this is, or a guy, whatever, that you've been dealing with this stuff, and now not only have you been dealing with that, now you've got to deal with the other side of it, and like, oh god, it honestly just sounds like a nightmare right now, and
Yeah,
I,
it's.
like, my heart
This
goes out
is.
to all those people. You should not have to deal with that shit at work. You
No.
shouldn't have to deal with it, period,
That's the
but
crappy
you
thing
should really
about.
not have to deal with it at work.
Yeah, that's the crappy thing about big corporations and companies, right? They just become these giant machines, but then it's like, yeah, it's team, 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 but really there's a bunch of people who, like, push, pull, climb, backstab their way up and around and, manipulate situation and power
Yeah.
to better their careers. And at the end of the day, it's like consistently throwing people under the bus to make themselves look better or to forward their careers. And it's fucking gross. And then you don't have the help you need from an HR department that literally just empowers those people because
Yeah.
either that's their bosses or, again, like I said, they're trying to avoid lawsuits.
But it's interesting because, like, it sounds like some of the like stuff coming out of the HR side of it was that they were like, look, zip it, like
Yeah, that's bullshit.
that's he's a creative. That's what happens. He's just like that.
He's just like that. Don't, that's just what's his name. Don't
the
worry
argument was that if they were still making games and those games were still selling like crazy, then those people could kind of in a weird way
so
get
you
away
can
with whatever the hell they
you
want.
can get away with murder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
So
that's gross. I don't give a shit if you're it doesn't matter. You're no. No video
Exactly.
game is made by one person, so
Nope.
one asshole gets a free pass to do a bunch of bullshit. Because
Exactly.
Ubisoft is the one game company that has literally like thousands of people working on any game at any given time. So how could one asshole who slaps asses and does other bullshit be allowed like to run amok? Like, let's be honest. Like, no, there's no fucking way he has that much influence.
Yeah. So
Especially in a company that big. So it's it is a little gross. Hopefully they get their
we'll
shit.
see.
And it's funny because Ubisoft is always like the good guy. Like they were always like everyone's favorite.
I know.
They're releasing the great games. They annualize shit like crazy that EA and Activision get shit on for by like the hardcore gamer sphere.
Sure.
Oh, another Call of Duty. Oh, EA, Madden, NHL, FIFA. Oh, EA, you're terrible. Activision, you're terrible. Ubisoft is great, even though they do the exact same thing, but just not sports games or Call of Duty. They just do it with different franchises. But no one really ever hated. No one ever flung mud at Ubisoft. Like some people didn't like their games, but everyone hates EA and Activision. And in the middle of this like shitstorm of like crap going on the internet, where's the bad actors in EA and Activision who are like the true like evil companies according to every gamer on the planet? Huh? That's kind of weird. That's really fucking weird, isn't it? The most hated companies, the skeletons haven't like fallen out of their closet unless EA and Activision are so fucking evil they just fucking murdered their employees. They've just literally disappeared because they are so bad.
Ultimately, I think the thing is that, like you said, like this may just have to do with the fact that the skeletons haven't fallen out of their closet yet.
No, yeah, the reckoning
and who
could
knows?
be coming.
Maybe I don't work there, so I can't say if you.
Well, I guess that one writer
was
involved.
there?
That one writer was involved in a lot of EA games, but he didn't just work at EA. He worked at a lot of companies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, he worked for a lot of people.
Moving along. Valve canceled a lot of games over the last decade. Did you know that?
Yeah.
No, you didn't know that because they didn't tell anyone until recently.
You have a company where a bunch of people get to choose what they want to work on. You can't tell me that a bunch of people got real excited about a game and then fell off, and then got real excited about a game and fell off. It sounds like that's pretty much exactly what happened here.
This story from Eurogamer by Wesley Yenpool. Over the last decade, Valve has canceled quite a few video games. Thanks to a recent documentary on the developer, we now have an idea of what exactly fell by the wayside. Jeff Keighley's The Final Hours of Half-Life Alyx released this week on Steam, and it reveals Valve's failed attempt to make Half-Life 3. The game boss Gabe Newell would refuse to discuss in interviews. IGN has a tidy roundup of the various cancellation projects. The highlight, of course, is Half-Life 3, one of 5 canceled Half-Life games worked on in the 13 years between the release of Half-Life Episode 2 and this year's Half-Life Alyx. Half-Life 3 was in development 2013-2014 and was set to be procedurally generated, replayable game that fused Left 4 Dead-inspired gameplay with scripted story moments. It was canceled because it was built on the unfinished Source 2 engine. That seems weird.
Oh, wait. Remember that whole deciding on what we want to work on? A bunch of people decided they didn't want to work on the Source engine anymore.
Then we have the oft-rumored Left 4 Dead 3. This open-world take on Valve's zombie kill-em-up also fell by the wayside. It was built on the unfinished Source 2 engine. Other canceled projects include RPG, which was likened to Elder Scrolls, a Minecraft-esque voxel game called Arty, SimTrek, which was in development by Kerbal Space Program developers in 2017. Valve quietly hired some of the people who worked on Kerbal Space Program. A Half-Life VR game set on the time-traveling Aperture Science boat Borealis from Half-Life 2, and a mysterious Left 4 Dead game purposely codenamed Hot Dog, so eagle-eyed fans on the internet would know it was a Left 4 Dead game. With all these canceled video games, it's a wonder Valve managed to get itself together to develop and release Half-Life Alyx. It did so by ditching Valve's infamous no managers flat structure, the very same philosophy ex-Valve business development director Jason Holtman discussed with Eurogamer back in 2012. We sort of had to collectively admit we were wrong on the premise that you will be happiest if you work on something you personally want to work on the most, Valve's Robin Walker says in the final hours of Half-Life Alyx. Of course, Valve released video games in recent years, a fair few in fact. They're typically multiplayer-focused games opposed to story-based titles. Eternally popular competitive first-person shooter Counter-Strike Global Offensive came out in 2012. MOBA phenomenon Dota 2 came out in 2013. Failed virtual card game Artifact came out in 2018. Auto Battler Dota Underlords came out in 2020, and most recently VR title Half-Life Alyx. So, yeah, that's neat. We knew they were working on it. Clearly they were having issues, and yeah, like you said it. It's hard to have 200 people that want to just work on whatever they want to work on, and they're all super hyped up and motivated for a bit, and then you hit the roadblock of development, which video games are hard to develop, but you don't have anyone cracking a whip to say, get over the hump, keep going.
Yep.
We're done. Let's go into something else.
Well, you also have to remember during all of this time as well, they did Steam machines, which was them trying to build their own version of Linux so that you could play games on and build your own computers and do that. You also had their VR thing, which they've developed. You also had the Steam controller, which they worked on.
You know, Valve Index, the Valve VR initiative is it's successful.
And that's obviously still ongoing and so on. But like my other point is like there's a whole bunch of other stuff they were also interested in working on and doing all along the, and I mean, luckily they're Valve and they have Steam, and so Steam just keeps giving them money for, doing a bit on the back end, and they have more money than they know what to do with, so they can do this kind of thing because they're Valve. But like, yeah, without kind of some sort of structure and some people there to tell you like we got to finish this shit, like video games are hard. We've said it before, so this does not surprise me at all. And like that's the thing. I also think that like looking at the people that have come and gone from Valve over the last decade, the people that were building the Source engine, they're gone. So it's like it was crazy to me that the Source 2, like I know at one point Dota got ported to the Source 2 engine. I think that's the only thing that got ported to it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it like there was rumors at one point like, oh, Source 2 is going to be this incredible engine. It's going to do all these cool things. And like there was like a couple leaks here and there about like, with some footage from like a Left 4 Dead something or other and some other stuff. And it looked great. And then the Source 2 engine just disappeared, which is kind of wild because when you look at the original Source engine, holy shit, there was a bunch of video games that got built on the Source engine that were not just Valve. Like there was tons of stuff. So it's kind of interesting, like that we at one point, back in the early 2000s, for example, like there was like 5 or 6 companies building these video game engines that other people were using and making money off of. And now we're essentially down to like 2 and a couple in-house ones. You got Unity and you got Epic, and like everybody else either does an in-house engine or they use Unity or they use Epic, Unreal, right? And it's I guess you technically, and I don't think anymore, I don't think that the id Tech engine, I don't even think they offer that outside of Bethesda and id Games anymore either, right? Like that was their whole in-house engine, but they used to, that was a huge engine at one point, like the Quake engine, Quake 3 engine. Holy shit, go like look up on Wikipedia the amount of games that were built on the Quake 3 engine. It'll blow your fucking mind. Like so many of those original Call of Duty games were all built on that original engine. Like it's mind-blowing, and yet now here we are. So
yeah, video games are hard.
So
sorry, I was just looking at the Microsoft Flight Simulator stuff.
I know you weren't paying attention at all.
I was paying attention.
No, you weren't. Microsoft Flight Simulator is going to launch on 10 DVDs.
I saw that.
10 DVDs. So you want to buy it? You want to buy
How
it?
big is that install gonna be? I don't like what. Do you
Well, I
choose
guess
like sections of the game?
my question is like, who in their right mind would be buying it? Like who's buying a, who's buying the hard copy that you're going to need 10 DVDs for, and then not having the internet to play the flight simulator game that you're going to want to download fucking
Well, I
more
guess.
stuff and
Yeah, I
more
guess.
airplanes
Well,
and more
that's.
airports and more, like, do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
was confused. DVDs. So 5 DVDs is like what? One Blu-ray.
well, a DVD is what, 4.7 gigs,
I
and a
guess if it's a
Blu-ray is
dual.
50.
I guess if you do have a dual layer DVD, you can have 8 gigs, right?
Sure, but a Blu-ray's 50.
Yeah. It's just that I guess
So it's,
DVDs are more popular
well, yeah.
for PC.
My question is, I don't have a DVD. Who has a fucking DVD drive anymore?
I have one.
You're an idiot.
Actually, I think I actually have a Blu-ray drive in my PC.
Yeah, but when you rebuild your PC, assuming you don't use that case, you're not going to put a DVD
No, I'm
drive
building
in
a
it.
whole new tower. Yeah.
Right. And you're not going to put a DVD drive in it, or a Blu-ray drive in it.
I doubt it. I'll still have my old PC. If I need to rip something, I'll just use it in that one.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going off on a tangent, but yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator launches August 2020 on PC. It's coming to Game Pass on PC. The standard
version
edition
on Game Pass. Yeah.
There was some
Which will have-
confusion about airports and whatnot, because like depending on what version you have, has like there's premium versions of the airports, I guess, which make it even a level higher of I guess authenticity when flying into these airports.
But you also get more of them.
Yeah, there's a few more. There's like 40 versus 30 in the standard
Yeah, so
edition.
you get 30 in the standard, 35 in the deluxe, and 40 in the premium edition.
And then
it's a similar thing with airplanes.
planes, yeah.
You get 20 airplanes with the standard, 25 with the deluxe, and 30 with the premium. At least now.
It
who knows?
looked
what
cool when they unveiled it. I'm like, this game looks awesome. I want to play it. I want to learn how to. I want to fly from here to down to when I buy a plane, so I can fly us to E3 every year.
Dude, this is the game where like you get in and like, whew, it's a flight simulator. There is a lot to it.
You're gonna have to get a HOTAS set up for this.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I will.
I won't. But
it would be pretty. I think it would be
way.
pretty crappy to play this on a mouse and a keyboard.
Or even a gamepad. I think it's really made for.
This is like you can fly around the freaking world, man.
Yeah, and it's all realistic, and it will actually take you the amount of time. That's the other thing.
Oh,
like,
what?
Yeah, it's 1-for-1, dude. Like this is like
There's gotta be like some fast forward. Come on.
This is a flight simulator. Like you get in and it like, oh yeah, you got rudders, you name it. Like you got to land that shit. You got like it's intense, and I'm sure, and I'm guessing, but I'm sure that there's probably some way that you can adjust the simulation, like how much you want full sim, where you got to literally do pre-checks. You got to talk on the radio. You got to get the okay from the tower.
Dude, what did you do? I just flew cross country. I need to take a nap. I need a day off.
Yeah.
I'm just coming off a double shift. I flew back and forth.
I mean, I know.
Oh man.
Like I know people that have like studied and were working on getting their pilot's licenses that used the previous version with a bunch of mods, and that's how they were like. That was a huge way that they were practicing like their flight shit, because well, real flight simulators and real airplanes are fucking expensive, so this was a way for them to get a lot of that initial stuff out of the way, so that they were actually better at a lot of the things that they were
I wonder
if
you could play this so much that you could actually like fly.
That's my point. Like it's
like, could you honestly play this enough and be like have proof? Like, no, I've logged like hundreds of hours in this, and like, could you actually get into one of these planes and take them off?
I don't know.
Like, no one would ever allow you to do that, but like,
I don't know if this if this particular, obviously, like I don't know, like we haven't seen sort of the release yet. We don't know how deep it's gonna get, but I know, like I said in the past, like when you go to like I looked heavily into becoming a pilot a few years ago, and like when you go to these different companies when you know you're going to like learn to be a pilot, a lot of these have these giant simulators that are essentially running very similar types of, you know, obviously it's a full 360, and there's an actual, it's a HOTAS setup that's got all the buttons and whistles, and there's a radio, and like
Yeah,
it's
like
it's more
it's a
involved
cockpit.
obviously. But like my point is that like you can use these types of things to absolutely get a lot of that stuff kind of out of the way.
Shit,
So
that'd be pretty awesome. It looks awesome in the
yeah,
trailer here, like flying over
God, it
some
looks
cities. I'm
so
like,
pretty.
wow.
Yeah, so they were using the Bing map stuff. They were using Bing maps to fucking like do the like yeah, to render
That's ridiculous. So, but they
all of
gotta
the
have
stuff.
some. They gotta have someone go in like and fine tune that, right? Like, there's got to be some manpower like dressing that stuff up
I have no
because it's
idea.
not like satellite view. It looks like freaking very like
No.
the
Well,
landmarks and stuff.
have you ever used Bing map?
Nobody
They
uses
have
Bing
a
Map, Stain. What the hell?
I know. I know.
So
They have a
no,
birds
I have never
they
used it.
You should check it out sometime. They have a thing that's called like their bird's eye view. It's not a satellite image. It's actually taken from high resolution photos from an airplane. And so they're actually lower than a satellite, but not directly down like that. You can actually get a like it's cool. It's really neat.
This is
And apparently a lot of that is in on this Microsoft Flight Simulator stuff.
so August 19th is when that comes out.
Yeah.
Part of Game Pass
Uh,
Ultimate.
Standard edition is $59, 79 for the deluxe, and $110 for the premium. And I'm assuming those are American prices, so add 10, $20 onto each of those for the Canadian version.
So what do
Or
you? How do
just
you get the
get the
cool?
standard
How do
version
you
on
get the
Game
cool
Pass.
fucking view on this? Is it just for cities?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it in a while. But yeah, it's their like bird's eye view.
Oh, bird's eye view. I only see
Yeah.
road, street side, aerial.
They might have changed the name to Ariel. I'm not sure.
Well, aerial looks like your satellite view. I'm trying to see how good it
Okay.
looks. It's a pretty good looking aerial view, actually. Now that I'm zooming around my city,
Yeah.
doesn't go all three. Doesn't go all 3D though. It's quite grainy when you zoom in.
Yeah.
Though you can.
But I mean, you're talking about, you know, needing to go. Yeah.
Anyway,
So.
coolio. That's enough of that.
Yeah.
Marvel's Avengers hosting 3 beta weekends in August. Introductory live stream due later this month. Fans of superheroes. Oh, this story from Eurogamer by Matt Wales. Fans of superheroes going thwack and apostrophes will no doubt be thrilled to learn that developer Crystal Dynamics' Marvel Avengers beta season now has a start date and will be getting underway from Friday, August 7th. Crystal Dynamics is actually holding 3 beta weekends in total, with the first August 7th and 9th session being exclusive to those that pre-ordered Marvel's Avengers for PS4. Oh, I pre-ordered it on Xbox. No start times have been specified as of yet, and you'll need to register to get involved. Well, shouldn't they just send you a code if you pre-ordered the fucking game? I feel like this is going to be a fucking disaster.
You got to complicate it, man. Come on.
Yeah, the following weekend will be open to all PS4 players, but only those PC and Xbox ones who pre-ordered a copy of the game. As you might already guess, the final beta weekend will be running from the 21st to the 23rd, open to everyone on all platforms. Okay, so if you pre-order on PS4, you get it the first week. Everyone on PS4 gets it the second week. Pre-orders and the other consoles get it the second week. Then everyone, okay, yeah. That'd be cool. I wonder, although you may be curious to know what you'll actually be able to do during the beta, Crystal Dynamics isn't quite ready to share those details yet. I wonder if no, it can't be the mission we played because that's kind of like the intro. It's got to be like a level or two in. I wonder what this is going to be like. I wonder if this is going to be like the Destiny. Remember the original Destiny beta and everyone's like, oh, this is fucking awesome. And we all played way too much of it. Like,
I mean, I think it always makes me nervous with stuff like this because like it's probably gonna go one of two ways, right? It's either gonna be like this is fucking awesome, or people are gonna be like, I don't know, like this is not awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm hopeful. Like like I've said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I liked what I played of it. It felt good.
I like what I played of it as
At
well.
PAX. You know, I'm it has the potential to be really fucking cool. It also has the potential for them to fall flat on their face. So I'm hoping it's the first one and not the
I
second one.
don't think you have 3 beta weekends if you aren't pretty confident. Because that's a lot of opportunity for people to play your game. And if it ain't good and you don't feel like it's fun,
Yeah, I mean
like
Anthem came out 3 weeks before. They did 2 or 3 beta weekends too, and look
yeah,
at
and
how that turned out.
I guess everyone was enamored with that. It's true. I guess we'll
So,
see.
yep.
Um, PlayStation news. Here's our first look at PS5 game box art. The story from Eurogamer from Wesley Yinpool again. Sony revealed our first look at PlayStation 5 game boxes. The image below, courtesy of PlayStation Blog, shows PS5 game Spider-Man Miles Morales. I don't like the white.
So essentially, take a look at a PS4 game, and then the blue bar at the top that has the PS4 and only on PlayStation logo in it. Instead of that being blue, make it white, and that's exactly what the PS5 box looks like.
I don't like the white.
I think, like I said in our Discord, I think that probably looked really cool on a spreadsheet, or in a design document. And then when they actually printed it out and they put it on the blue background from the Blu-ray box, it probably looked less cool.
Yeah, well,
That
clearly
said, it
they're.
doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, it's not a
I
big
don't know.
deal. Like, who cares? Like, do you play the
Yeah,
box? No, it's a package for the disc for people who still buy physical.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
I guess it
You
doesn't
know.
look terrible.
Yeah,
I was just expecting them to change the blue up to something different, but I guess why would you? Because they're Blu-rays and like,
yeah.
what are you gonna go red? Switch is red. Excuse me, aren't Switch boxes red? Or they're like packaging?
It's a great question. I think it just depends on the game.
Cool, not cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Sony invests 250 million in Fortnite maker Epic Games. A story from VentureBeat by Dean Takahashi. Sony has invested 250 million for a minority stake in Fortnite maker Epic Games. The company's announced today. With new money, Epic Games has raised 1.83 billion today. Jesus Christ. Tim Sweeney is a fucking rich motherfucker. That's his name, right?
Tim Sweeney, yes.
Yeah.
He is the CEO of Epic.
The company said that the deal cements an already close relationship and reinforces their shared goal to advance the state of the art in technology, entertainment, and socially connected online services. This close relationship was underscored in May when Epic first showed the upcoming Unreal Engine 5 graphics running on PS5. That demo was really cool. As the company itself has disclosed, Epic Games raised $1.58 billion in 3 previous funding rounds. In 2012, the company received a $330 million investment from Tencent for 40% ownership stake. Man,
That's crazy.
doesn't Sony wish they
2012, they invested like what, essentially $100 million more, and they got a 40% stake
versus a 1.4% that Sony bought for 250?
Yeah, like
When did Fortnite come out? Now it really makes me wonder, like, how much
Oh,
money fucking Tencent has made off of Epic.
2017?
Is it? I'm gonna search Fortnite.
Pretty sure it's 2017.
Yeah, 2017. Fuck.
Yeah.
10 cents, like, just laughing.
Yeah, the return on that investment is like, woo.
That's crazy.
This also has to do with, like, a lot of this also has to do with the fact that they got into like broadcasting and TV and movies and VFX in a heavy way. Like, all that stuff used to be done with like Maya, and a lot of this is happening a lot more in Unreal Engine now. So there's also that, so it's not just Fortnite, but then you also have to factor in the Epic Games Store. Like, that has increased their value as well. Like, they've made a lot of smart moves. But fuck, they're like, geez, that's wow.
Yeah, that's redonk.
Yep. So there you go. Sony owns 1.4% of Epic.
Our next story. Sony dramatically boosts PlayStation 5 production this year. I think this literally came out today. This story also from Eurogamer by Tom Phillips. PlayStation 5 production has dramatically scaled up according to multiple reports. Both Bloomberg and Nikkei, it's Nikkei, right? Nikkei Asian Review have detailed a boost in output this year between 9 million and 10 million, up from an expected 6 million back in March. Almost doubled. Sony's decision reportedly reflects a surge in projected demand for the console, as well as reopening of China's manufacturing process following the impact of coronavirus pandemic. Whether these extra consoles will make it into shop shelves here in the UK, North America, in time for Christmas is unknown, though the console is reportedly now in mass production with 5 million units by September and up to 5 million more before year's end. By comparison, Sony shifted 4.2 million PlayStation 4 consoles between its November launch and the end of the year back in 2013. Although its release was held back in Japan until the following February, it took until August 2014, 9 months after its initial launch, until PS4 hit its 10 million sales milestone. Wow. That's fucking crazy. That goes to show gaming's gotten bigger, or everyone being at home is spending like crazy. Their confidence, PS4 is just, or PlayStation is just in such a different place than they were in 2013. I just remember 2013. This is going to be the last console generation.
Oh God.
And then everyone. No. I don't think consoles are ever going to go away. To be honest.
Yeah.
If anything,
I think the market's a little different. I mean, this is obviously speculation. We don't.
Yeah.
It's not like Sony announced that they're doing this, so I mean that's always the question. This reminded me back of an article I saw a while ago that was showing off their production facility building the PS4s in Japan. Automated. And it's almost entirely automated, and they can pump out one PS4 every 30 seconds. That's crazy. And they only needed two actual people involved. One person to slot motherboards and the other person to box it. Like, it was wild.
Because they just didn't want to make it. They wanted to say they had some people working there because they could have had robots doing that.
I have no idea. I'm sure there's a reason.
I haven't seen that video, but I saw people on Twitter like super.
You should check it out. It's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, that's like most consumer electronics, I think. Like,
no, this is cutting edge. Like, almost no facilities are that streamlined.
Oh, that's how you sell.
Really
that's neat. How you manufacture and sell 105+ million units.
The only question I had that they didn't answer is I don't know if that production was for everywhere or if that production was for like Asia, like, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm pretty sure my PlayStation said it was made in China, so so I don't know. But anyways,
I don't know either. Nintendo news. This story also from Eurogamer by Wesley Yin-Pool. Bakugan Champion, is that how you say it? Bakugan Champions of Vestoria is a new Nintendo Switch exclusive from Way Forward.
We're really talking about this?
God. Yes, because everyone was fucking disappointed that this was the announcement. And what was it, a Nintendo Direct was it for Paper Mario? And then they're like, oh, but we're going to have something new from Way Forward. And everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know.
God, this is what we got? Yikes.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sure the game will be good. It's just,
I'm sure the people that like Bakugan are super excited, right? Like you like Pokemon. I'm sure there's people out there that are super into Bakugan. So I mean, it's not me, but I wish those people well. Apparently, there's a new Bakugan coming out.
Like what? Way Forward? Like, really?
It's due out on the 6th of November, 2020.
Yeah. So that was an example of not setting expectations. Nintendo forgot their own lesson. Hey, do you want a really expensive Lego Nintendo Entertainment System? Well, Dane, because you can build one.
It looks so fucking cool.
This story from Polygon by Michael McWhirter. McWhirter? McWhirtor? Lego Nintendo Entertainment System coming August 1st. It's $300.
Oh,
300 Canadian plus tax. It's almost 350.
ooh, that's ouch, man.
Is it?
It's like, so initially I thought it was just the Nintendo
Mm.
console with the little lid that flips up, and you can actually put like little Lego cartridges in it, and they actually like you put them in and you press down, and like it's all of that is there. And it's cool as hell. I'm not gonna argue that. And I didn't realize it also comes with the TV. So initially I thought it was just the console for
Yeah.
$350, and I was like, whoa, that's insane. And then I realized like it also comes with the TV that you have to build, and the TV has like a little crank on the side, and you can actually like turn the crank, and Mario will like jump up
It
and
like
down and
animates
go
the
like,
level 1-1.
yeah, and like it's pretty cool, but $350 cool? It is not.
No, not in a year when I have to spend $500 on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X.
Yeah,
I'm not buying a $350 console that doesn't play
and
any video games.
and it only comes with one controller. I mean, you'd think for that price they'd at least put in a second controller,
Yeah, that's the lot. That's where I draw the fucking line. Only
right?
one controller? Like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Like,
You don't even get the light gun either. Like, what the fuck, man?
so that's an accessory pack they haven't announced yet. Can you
Well, hey,
imagine?
well, if we're going for nostalgia here, though, like the pack that they're offering here, which is the duck, like, or this the Super Mario, came with two controllers. That was the thing. You got Super Mario
Yeah, it isn't
Brothers
even
and two
it isn't
controllers.
even the Super Mario Duck Hunt game either. What the
I
hell?
know. So I'm just saying
The
that.
games
That's all
pop
I'm
in
saying.
like you remember. It's really fucking cool. Like if it was
Yeah.
$150, hell yeah, but no. It's too expensive.
Yeah. I'm sure, like, and it looks like it's a big, like it's
Oh,
a
it's
big
big. The
size.
little
Like
TV, the
it's like it's
TV is
essentially
huge. They show
like
it like they show it in the story here, linked in the show notes. They have it taken apart. It's almost real size. Yeah, it looks like.
yeah, it's almost one for one with a little 13-inch screen, which is probably what I played my original Nintendo
And
on.
then it
So,
it works with the Super Mario Lego, the little figure. If you like plop him on top of the TV,
oh
he
really?
does the music and sound effects.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
I mean, like I said, man, it's okay. So it
this
is
it's a
2,646
lot of
pieces.
pieces. I think my Slave One was like just barely over 1,000.
So like, that's so, but still, that's my lord.
Yeah. Speaking of Super Mario, rare copy of Super Mario Brothers sells at auction for record-breaking $114,000. A story from Kotaku by Ian Walker. A mint condition sealed copy of the original Super Mario Brothers sold at auction for $114,000 on July 10th, setting a new record for the sale of a single collectible video game. The previous record was a private sale for $100,000 in February 2019. Was another sealed copy.
Wow.
How they come up with that number, you may be asking? Well, several reasons. The packaging is sealed, for one. It's graded at near perfect 9.4, meaning
Out of
it's
9.8, right? 9.8 is the
I have no
best,
idea.
I believe. Yeah, if it's going with like the comic book scoring, like I believe 9.8 is the best, but
Meaning it's distinctly free of wear and tear. It's also an early printing of the game. Not as early as the one sold in 2019, but early enough to still have the cardboard hang tab on the box, which
wow.
stores were supposed to punch out and use to hang NES games on pegs, like action figures. That didn't last long. In short,
Jeez.
a cardboard hang tag copy of early Nintendo System game brings in a certain vintage unrivaled by its successors, reads the game's listing on Heritage Auctions. Man,
That's $154,000 Canadian.
I just have to say, you could fucking pirate this game on your cell phone. No fucking person on the planet is gonna think you're. What cred does this get you? This just tells me you have more money than brains.
Yeah.
Like
You have
it's
a collection,
Mario Brothers, like Super Mario.
know?
Like it's an amazing game. It's like it's what really made me the idiot that I am today is this game. Like, I had an Atari, I had a ColecoVision and television. Sure. I had all those systems before, but let's be honest, Super Mario Brothers, like, what? This is more than one screen. It keeps going and the stages change and there's multiple enemies. And like my 8-year-old or 7-year-old brain was like, like exploded. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, for video games, Super Mario Brothers is like something very special. But it is also probably one of like the easiest games in the world. You could fucking trip on this game, like in a thrift store. Like, you can buy it.
Like, that's partly why this one's so rare, right? Is because there was so many copies of the game. But the fact that this one is still
in a fucking box.
This one is still
I can play it on my cell phone. I can play it on my Nintendo Mini.
But nobody's gonna buy this, open it, and play it. Like, that's not the point, right?
I know it's not the point.
Is you're gonna
the point is you're
house.
fucking dumb, and you should spend that money on something else.
Hey.
Buy a fucking exotic car. Buy a fully
you
loaded.
You right?
Oh,
like, if that's what you're into, then like.
I guess if I had $60 million and I was such a.
Well, like, think about this, man. Like, people spend way more than that on art. This is just somebody's art, right? Like, this is just that person.
I guess so.
And yet people spend fucking hundreds of millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on a piece of art that somebody decided was worth that. So I mean, this is art, right? Somebody's gonna put it on a shelf or put it on a wall or somewhere, and they're gonna look at it, and it's
okay. You're like pissing lots of money. I'll sell you this custom-made T-shirt. Like, anyone out there got like a lot more money than brains? Like,
it's small.
This is one of a kind. This is like C8, slightly used, but it still looks cool. God damn it.
No.
Xbox news. Series X games aren't being held back by cross-gen development, says Spencer. The story from VG247. Microsoft Studios developers are creating games that will work on both Xbox One and Xbox Series X, according to Phil Spencer. This will not stop next-generation games from reaching their full potential. Speaking with GameIndustry.biz, Xbox boss Phil Spencer brushed off the opinion that Xbox Series X games would be held back by Microsoft's development studios creating games that are also compatible with Xbox One. Spencer likened cross-generation development to PC games, which it fucking is, so it's pretty obvious, which have a diverse ecosystem when it comes to hardware. You have games that are powerful with the highest fidelity, which also work across a set of hardware. Yeah, like, no-brainer, duh. I guess they might make compromises, but like, not really, because they develop it for all the bells and whistles, and you turn that shit off on the other version, it still runs. It's oversimplifying it, but
yeah, I get what he's getting at, and on one hand he's not wrong, and like, obviously games are developed for a wide variety of stuff, but at the end of the day, you look on the back of a computer box, and what do you see? Minimum requirements. And like, let's be honest, minimum requirements suck. Nobody wants to, like, just because you can hit the minimum requirements doesn't mean you can actually like enjoy the game. Like, so, to say that like, oh, well, it's not going to hold us back. I can't. I don't know that I can necessarily agree with him on that, because you're building games that also have to run on that hardware. Like, and so you cannot tell me that you're building something and you're like, oh, let's do this. And somebody turns to you and says, dude, if we do that, it will work and it'll look awesome and everything else. But how are we going to then replicate that onto the Xbox One version?
Yeah.
Or how are we going to replicate that and then the other person turns back to the other person and goes, ah, shit, right. We gotta
like the no loading Spider-Man on PS5.
Right. You can't do that on Xbox One. Like
or PS4.
Right.
Example.
So then how do you so then I get, like, obviously, like, Spider-Man on PS4 runs. It's great. Like, we both played it. It's awesome. But you're not going to have the same experience. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's in a weird way, like, not the same. Like, I don't know. So,
yeah,
ultimately, I think
it's true, not true.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it really depends on budget. I think that if you are Epic or if you are some of these other companies that have huge budgets, if you're a first party Microsoft studio, then he's absolutely right. Those studios were probably not going to be held back at all by the Xbox One because they have the money to develop and to make sure that that's not an issue. But I think that if you're a third party studio, what is the first thing you're going to do? Is they're going to go, okay, what's the lowest? Like, what do we have to support this on?
Yeah.
Okay, let's build it for that, and then let's scale up from there. If we can get away with cool shit and we can add stuff and stuff later, but then at the end of the day, on that build up from there, that's where time and money comes in. At a certain point, somebody says, hey, we got to ship this thing, and you go, oh shit, okay, well, enough is enough. Now we got a bug fix. Now we got to do this. Now we got to do that.
Yeah.
Did it look as cool as it could have? Does it run as well as it could have? No, but they got to ship it. Do you know what I mean? So I think it depends. Is my, that's my opinion.
It's going to not going to.
Totally. So
yeah, like there's gonna have to be some compromises.
Yep.
Or just the One X versions are gonna have some weird shit in them. Could be extra loading. Could be like big loss in fidelity. Like there could be ways that they do develop it for Series X without being held back. But I guess time will tell, right?
Yeah. I'll be very curious. I'm super interested to see like how it'll, what's going to happen with it. So
see, that's the thing. It's like the ones that work across, like that's only Microsoft that's going to be doing that. But like the next Grand Theft Auto doesn't necessarily have to support the One X if it works on Series X. Like they could potentially have a last gen version, right?
Yeah. The other thing too is that they've also said like this isn't going to be forever. Right. So like the thing is that if you're planning on releasing a 1X game in the next, say year or two,
you got to work
say
on
till
both.
2022, then this is kind of what Microsoft has said, right? But after that, there's going to be a point where they're going to be like, look, moving forward, Series X only.
There's going to be a Series X Pro. And when that one games that run on that one will no longer run on the 1X, but they'll still run on the Series X. Oh, it's gonna get so confusing. God damn it.
Oh. So that's the thing is at a certain point there will be a cutoff, and they're not.
There has to be.
This is like from a perspective of this is our cross-gen strategy. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I think it is smart because you're not leaving anybody behind. Nobody gets butt hurt because like, oh my god, I just bought an Xbox One X.
I can't afford the Series X right now because I lost my job. But when I get a Series X next year. All the games I bought this fall and winter, I'll get to play on the new series. Like that's the exciting thing. Like what was it? Every game that came after June something has to work on PS5. So like Ghost has to work on PS5. I'm excited to see Ghost in 4K, potentially 60 FPS on PS5.
Yeah.
Like how awesome is that?
Yeah. I mean, you played it on a Pro, right?
I played it on Pro, but it's like it's clearly probably some kind of like rendering trickery to get to 4K, and it was 4K 30, right? And it dipped once in a while, not to the point where it was like terrible, but like, could you imagine silky smooth? You can prioritize frame rate, but to be honest, I couldn't tell a difference because I don't think it ran 60. I just think it ran a guaranteed locked 30.
That's interesting. Jeff Gertzman on the Giant Bombcast was saying like he was really surprised at how bad the frame rate was playing it on a Pro.
It was weird. He was complaining about it, and no one else on the podcast was complaining about it.
They were also all playing it under frame rate, though. He was the only one that was playing it under quality.
See, I played it on resolution, and I didn't notice it being that bad.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's got some. I wonder if he has some settings on his TV that are fucked up. Maybe he doesn't have it in the right mode. Like he's not in game mode, or he has some weird shit processing going on. Maybe he has just an older 4K. Maybe he doesn't even have a 4K. Maybe he has an older 4K TV because I know the other guys.
He has an OLED.
Does he have one of the OLEDs? Did he upgrade? I don't remember him ever talking about it.
Yeah, no, he got the same TV that all the other guys got.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what.
So
Maybe his house is really hot and the system. Maybe there's something wrong with the system. I didn't
or
have
maybe
issues.
he's more like sensitive to it.
Oh, maybe.
Like, because some people are super sensitive
Yeah.
to it, some
Well, I
people are
can
not, right?
tell, dude. I can tell between 30 and 60 and
Oh, I'm
above,
not
and
saying you can't. I'm just saying some people, like, it's noticeable to the point of them not wanting to play a
yeah,
game, and for
I
some people, it's like whatever.
I noticed a dip, but it wasn't so bad that it was like, oh my god. And there are times, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving along. We're getting long. We're like 2.5 hours, dude. 2 4. What? How the hell did we get this long?
Well, we're not like 20 minutes of this was just bullshit at the beginning.
Oh, that's true. That wasn't even probably before we actually
Yeah.
started.
Exactly.
Public service announcements. We're gonna be wrapping up here pretty quick. So, Epic Game Store freebie this week: Torchlight 2. By the time you listen to this, that will be up and ready to download or add to your Epic Games account. Super Hot Mind Control Delete launches July 16th. I guess that's by the time you listen to this. And if you buy Super Hot, that's free for you. So
Yeah.
that's a new game or an expansion?
My
Third
understanding is
game.
it's kind of an expansion more than
My
anything.
Super Hot Mind Control Delete was originally an expansion, but grew into a standalone game. Now has a
Yeah,
release
it's like a
date.
standalone expansion.
Huh. So yeah. So if you own that, it will be you'll get the upgrade for free. So if you haven't bought it yet, buy it now and
It's
before.
currently on sale for $10 on Steam.
Super Hot's a fucking cool game, man. I have
It
it
is pretty
on.
cool.
I have it on VR and PS4, and I think I have it on PC as well. Free for all. Dane, have a couple.
Yeah.
You watch the Old Guard and you watch Artemis Fowl. Old Guard looks fucking dope. I
Dude,
want to
Old
watch
Guard
it.
is fucking dope.
It is.
That. So, do you remember Charlize Theron in Mad Max? How badass Furia her character was? It's pretty much like 2 hours of that. She's just being a total badass, and it's awesome. No, I thought it was a cool premise. Kind of like, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody because I think it's absolutely worth a watch. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix exclusive. Charlize Theron. She plays essentially a character that is like an immortal badass. She's lived for hundreds, possibly thousands of years. They don't really say how old she is exactly. Um,
It's her whole crew, though, right?
Spoilers.
Well, I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, no, it's her and her crew. They're like I said, they're like these like immortals.
Changing
They
like
don't
history
die.
and
Like
altering.
they die. The thing is like this is the interesting thing is like they die, but then they come back. So like there's a scene very near the beginning where they all get shot to hell, and then they just like wake up and like they're all their the bullets that got into them get spit out of their bodies, and they just heal, and then they're back to being
So they're a bunch of Wolverines without crazy adamantium exoskeletons.
pretty
Or
much.
is it exoskeleton? No,
Um,
exo's outside.
he's got an interior skeleton, but it's cool. It's such a neat.
Premise.
I thought the world was really cool. I thought it was really well shot. The action was great. I think I love what they did with some of the actors. I absolutely feel like if you have Netflix and you're into that kind of a movie, I feel like it's absolutely worth the
I
watch.
think me and my wife will probably watch that this weekend.
I was definitely down. I thought it was great.
It looks cool from the trailer. I've embedded the trailer in the show note link, so if you want to see the trailer, it's there for you to watch.
Artemis Fowl is a Disney Plus exclusive.
I didn't hear.
I don't know
such
that
good
I
things about
am
that.
the target audience. I will say it was clearly like geared towards younger people. They built a really cool world, and like the concept of it is really cool. It just felt like budget wise and stuff, like instead of being Harry Potter, it was more my wife and I both kind of agreed it felt a lot more like a Percy Jackson type movie, like that kind of budget, sort of, it's a young adult, sort of 14, 12 to, sort of 15, maybe even 10 to 15 sort of age bracket. Um, you know, it, we enjoyed it, and I would be interested. I would watch another one in that series if they made one. I don't know that we'll get another one, to be fair.
Yeah, I heard it
Uh,
wasn't really well received.
and apparently it's based on a series of books. I imagine the books were probably really neat. If the funny thing is if anything, this actually made me want to go read the books.
It looks cool
Um,
in the trailer. Is it just
like a,
are the effects not that good, or just the acting, or like
it's like it's a bit of both. It's like some of the acting, some of the
a little
effects.
bit of
It's
it's
like the
cringe?
story is strangely like flat, I guess. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would say, like, it wasn't like a movie that I walked away and I was like, oh my god, that was a waste of my time, I hated it, or anything like that. Like well, the wife and I bought, like, we watched it. It was a popcorn movie, and again, I'm clearly not the target audience. um you know but the funny thing is it made me intrigued to read the books, because I have a sneaky suspicion that the books are probably pretty cool. And I feel like some of that stuff just didn't get relayed very well in the film. Yeah, it was weird. It was like it was like there was like a big build in the film, a big build, and then right around the time when, like, you were expecting kind of like that second, like, ooh, that was the twist, okay, well, now what? And then that was it, and you were like, wait, what? So wait, you just did that thing, and that was that.
Yeah.
Okay, then. I guess that was that. All right. Well, that's okay. So it kind of, yeah, it kind of fell a little flat, I think, in that regard. But yeah, like I said, I didn't hate it, but it was fine.
It was a film.
Yep.
Nice. Dane,
Yeah.
I think we have an episode 263 in the gigabits in your ear holes.
That's it. That's all she wrote.
Thank you everyone for sticking around. Thank you if you're still watching the stream. Ran a little long this week, but we had a lot to talk about. Especially probably went on a little bit about Ghost for a while. Go get it. It's good. You can follow me on Twitter at Rick F, no K, RICF.
You can come hang out with me on Twitter at Dane Cody, at DAYNECODY.
You can find our podcast where all fine podcasts are distributed. Apple Podcasts, Google Play or Google Podcasts, Spotify, simply through RSS feeds. Geekoholics.com has all the subscription links. If you're catching us online, streaming live, we are at twitch.tv/Geekoholics every Wednesday night around 8 p.m. Pacific time, plus or minus, depending on, shit. And next week we're going to be a week late, or a day late, not a week late.
Yes,
a
we
day
will.
late. We're going to be next Thursday because we can cover the
catch
Xbox,
the Microsoft stuff.
Yeah, the Microsoft event next Thursday, and then of course archive goes up on YouTube. Like I said, whenever I push that export button on Twitch. If you miss it live and want to see our ugly mugs for 2 hours on your TVs or computer screens, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or any type of ranking ruin podcasting site. Hey, you see a story somewhere that says, hey, best video game podcast, refer us to those people writing those stories, so maybe we get included in those lists. Hey, if you're on Reddit or a Facebook forum for another video game site or video game content or whatever, go, hey, these dudes make an awesome podcast, you should check them out. Just, yeah, feel free to signal boost us wherever it's appreciated. And or if you've got those fake Bezos bucks from your Amazon Prime, you get a free subscription to Twitch Prime every month. Feel free to toss that our way if you want. You don't have to. We just enjoy you being here. But if you remember that if you don't use it, you don't get anything. So if you don't have anywhere to throw it, feel free to throw it our way. Go into our PS5 funds. And with that being said, Dane, I think I have covered everything. Oh yeah, join the Discord, Geekoholics.com/Discord.
Now you've covered everything.
Now I've covered everything.
Okay.
We're done. episode 263. Thank you, everyone. We will yap at you next week.
Bye.
Peace.